What up, guys? Look who I got on. Our favorite Canadian.
What's going on, Dan Klein?
All right. So I brought in the world-renowned Abdul to have a conversation with us about prospecting. As you guys know, Abdul has been around from the beginning. Me and Abdul actually met at a sales event in San Diego. He was trying to sell hair replacement for bald people out of these little cans. And we all were sitting in the room looking at this dude going, this guy's the biggest moron I've ever met. Like, just completely never, ever had a chance at making any money doing what he was doing. But he was a great guy. We went out in San Diego, made friends. And then
we saw Snoop Dogg.
We saw Snoop Dogg and made friends. And then as JK kind of grew, he reached out to me, and the rest is kind of history. Now he's got, I think a 6-figure plus agency per month. Correct. And which is awesome. I don't know if that's Canadian or if that's US, but I mean, there's a big difference. Right?
It's still 6 figures a month in US dollars. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
I had to bust your chops. I was just on with Hayden talking trash about you. That's in some of the earlier videos. So it's always fun. No, I appreciate you jumping on with me, man, and sharing some of your knowledge. Obviously, you don't have to do this. I know you don't have to do this, and you've always been a great resource to everyone in the JK community. I know you got some tricks up your sleeve, some stuff that has helped you grow. That agency is bigger than any agency I've ever built. So hats off to you there. Obviously, to get to any business over that dollar amount takes a lot of know-how, takes a lot of commitment, takes a lot of resourcefulness. And so I'm just hoping today on this interview that is Limitless Prospecting that we're giving out to everyone who attends the Vegas event, which will be, on the expert panel at, I'm hoping you can give some knowledge bombs to us that maybe can help some people with their prospecting efforts. I've been telling everyone that I've interviewed that, look, sales is great. And I can train sales and I can teach sales and closing techniques and all this stuff, but without a prospect, you got nothing to close, right?
Absolutely.
So it all starts with prospecting, and, different strokes for different folks. I found that some things work really good for some people in some parts of the area or parts of the world. Some things work better. Some people are more comfortable with certain things. So I want you to kind of if you had to give us your top 2 or 3 techniques that you're using to prospect. I know you land very large clients. I know you're reading something on Facebook right now. I know a lot, right? So I want you to kind of dive into kind of your top 2 or 3 techniques that you use from a prospecting standpoint to do what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. Prospecting is so key, and the whole job of good prospecting is to make your sales process as easy as possible. You can be a great salesperson, but if your prospecting isn't in place, if your marketing isn't right, your sales process is going to be a lot more difficult. I've had some JKers that have been hitting me up for the past 2-3 years that I've been in the JK program, and I actually, Dan, this is so funny. I saw the chat from 2 years ago. I kind of read through it. The guy was asking me the same questions. He's like, hey, how do I get through the receptionist at the dental clinic? You're the dental expert. How do I do that? And then now, 1 month ago as well, he asked me the same question as well. He's like, I'm having trouble getting through the receptionists. And I was like, dude, you haven't implemented anything that I've said. So when it comes to marketing, what I'm doing, in the short term, I've got a short-term process in place, and there's a long-term process that I recommend as well. So if you're just starting out and you want to get clients as fast as possible, cold email still works really well. And cold email with value in there, of course, and you already teach this. So what I do is I'm doing things a little differently now. I am focused more on the higher end type of clientele, people that would be willing to spend 2, 3, 5, 10 grand a month with me. Mm-hmm. So what I'm doing is I'm seeing whether they are already spending money online. Spyfood.com/leads is a great way to do that. Let me step back before that even. You got to focus in on one industry. You got to niche down. So that you understand that market better than anyone else. A lot of people think that, they're making their net smaller by doing that, but man, your net is going to be a lot more efficient, and you're going to catch some good fish if you just niche down. So on spyfood.com/leads, you type in your industry. Let's say you're going after attorneys. Okay. I would zero in on a specific type of attorney as well. Let's talk about family law. Let's talk about divorce attorneys.
Sure.
So I would put in some keywords on spyfu.com/leads, and spyfu will tell you who are the big spenders.
Interesting.
You know,
Yeah.
have you ever used that tool, by the way, or know
I've
about it?
heard of it. I just pulled it up while you were talking. It's sick.
Dude, it's awesome. Now, the thing with spyfu.com/leads is that they've got servers in some parts of United States. And because of these locations of servers, they can only see ads from some places. People that are running Google ads either nationally or they don't have a geographical location set. Okay. So that's the issue. So you'll get maybe 10 to 20% of the market, maybe even less. But you know what? That's enough to get you started. And it would give you some good data on people that are spending money online already. Okay. Now, if you want to get the 100% of, the rest of the pie of people spending money online, as you may know, I'm an expert with Google AdWords. We spend over like $500,000 on Google AdWords every month or so. It's a ton of money that we're spending. So with Google AdWords, when you run ads, you can select a keyword and go into insights from Google AdWords, and they would show you everyone that's bidding for that keyword in that city.
Wow.
Dude, it's insane. I mean, for example, I'm sitting all the way here in Canada. For me to know,
I'm sorry about that.
Hey, come on now. You want to be here. So for me to know who's bidding in Sacramento, I'm going to have to like type up, let's say, a family lawyer, Sacramento. Seattle. Let's say Seattle.
Sure, that's fine.
Family law, Seattle. And I would see maybe a couple of people that are advertising for it. But I'm not going to see those people's ads that have a geographical restriction.
Sure.
That don't want their ads to show out of Seattle. But with this Google tool, I am able to see everyone. So you'll see like 20 advertisers in one city, and you can go city by city, run a couple of dollars in each city, like $5, $10, and Google will show you anyone's ads that showed up while your ads were running. It's a great tool. Okay.
So one of the things that I was taught very early on when I got into the B2B space and selling marketing services or advertising, whatever you want to call it, was people that advertise tend to believe in advertising, meaning people that spend money on a billboard or a magazine ad or whatever, they are sold on the idea of it takes money to make money. I have to spend in order to grow. I got to be in the marketplace getting attention. Yeah. And then there's the flip side of people, which is like your bottom of the barrel, your bottom feeders, right? And they're the types of people that go, I've been in business since 1937 and, I get all my business through word of mouth. And it's like, who do you want to work with? The guy that raises his hand says, dude, I spend 15 grand a month in marketing. And yeah, if I could find a better solution that gets me a better ROI, sure, Abdul, here's $5K. I don't give a shit. Or do you want the guy that you're trying to convince to get that, right?
Educating them is a pain. It takes time. It's money. But people that are already pre-sold on advertising, they actually recognize new channels of advertising are key to jump in on, right?
That's like, I'll tell you, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my window tint business, which was local, was I basically generated all my leads organically, just like I trained in JK, right? And that's fine and dandy, but I could have dominated that market if I would have had more of a sack on me at the time and freaking spent some dough. But I was so like, penny wise, dollar foolish. And that's kind of like how you are in renting hotel rooms, right? You just want to sleep in shit.
We're still thrifty, man. We're still thrifty. Come on.
By the way, I just want to say this. 2 years ago at Vegas event, we took Abdul out to dinner, and it was an expensive dinner, right? It's the dinner that we're doing their inner circle event at this year, Sushi Samba. And I remember you going, well, hey, this is $90 or something like that. I'm like, would you splurge a little bit? You're telling everyone how much money you're making. Like, enjoy life a little bit. Now, I think I got you sold on good food, don't I?
Oh, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think so. Let's just kind of recap a couple things. That's why also I just want to bring this back. So spyfood.com/leads was the first tool you said where you can go in there and see advertisers and who's spending money. And then the other thing was through Google AdWords insight tools, correct? Where you're able to see geographically where people are spending money. And I think from where that's how you're garnering and finding these bigger spenders or these people that are sold on spending money. Then how are you prospecting them? That's just your discovery mechanism.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the first part. We got to make sure our list is good and it's not been hit up by everyone. For example, if you're just hitting up people that are advertising on Yellow Page, now everyone's doing that, right? So we got to be, even though that works, this is a cool way to get those leads. And then you can copy the website from this AdWords, put it into SpyFu, and you'll know exactly how much money they're spending.
Sure.
And you'll get so many insights just from that. Now, the insights that you get from that, you send them an email. You send them a cold email with what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. What they're doing right is important as well, because you compliment them a little bit. It makes them feel good. It makes them more receptive to the rest of the
sandwich is what it's called.
Huh?
It's called a shit sandwich.
Call it a shit sandwich?
That's what you're doing is called. Right?
Oh.
You give them shit, and you give them the good stuff, then you stack it with the more shit. It's
boom.
Shit. You can't just go all shit on someone. Because then you're like, hey, there's shit everywhere. But you give them, hey, here's the bad, but you know what? Here's all the things you're doing awesome, but then here's the bad again. It's how you fire people too, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I guess I learned that skill from my wife, I guess, when all the criticism. Anyways, so that's how you send the emails. The email subject lines. I like to put their names on the email subject line and comma. I would say Dan Klein, comma, your LinkedIn profile, ... if I got their email from their LinkedIn, or your Twitter profile, ... or something about them, your Google profile, ... and, it gets them to open. We can get up to like 70% open rates. So with something like that. The tool we're using for emails is quickmail.io. You can even use Gmail. If you're just starting out and stuff, that's good enough. And obviously use banana tag where so that when they open up the emails. Now in the email, I like to be casual. I like to be to the point, not too formal, like turn people off. You don't want to be too corporate. I like to put in GIFs in there as well. Just something funny gets them to laugh.
Have you tried out BombBomb before?
Huh?
BombBomb?
BombBomb?
Yeah.
What's that?
Check it out. So BombBomb, you can actually put the video, if you want to do like a video, you can actually put the video in the email and it will play in the email. They never even leave the email. So if you want to speak directly to them, it's sick because right when they get the email, they log in and the video is playing. And you're right in. You check it out. We use it a lot with some of the real estate stuff that I do with working with these agents. Use the BombBomb to get right in front of them and get like a personalized conversation pitch kind of in there. And so anyway, check it out. I think everyone, I don't know why I haven't shared that in JK. It's freaking awesome. BombBomb, check it out.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
It plays it with the audio or without the audio?
No, with audio.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, yeah, that's something worth exploring.
Never have to leave. Some people, they're afraid of the click through, even if it's to YouTube, even though YouTube's trusted, but that thing is sitting there right in their inbox. So that's another thing you can add to the mix.
Yeah, for sure. So what we do is we have the GIF and it's a funny GIF, you just put in something funny and they get a laugh out of it. It makes them more receptive to what you have to say. Sure. Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid.
And that's it. Like that's the initial email. And then after that, we send like 5-6 follow-ups. Obviously you'll get majority of your responses from your follow-ups.
So once they open, the ones that open, then you continue going back after them with new messages, or are you trying to push them to an appointment? They schedule an appointment with you? What else?
Yeah. So in the first email, you don't try to get them, like not necessarily, you don't need to get them on the phone right away. You just want a dialogue to happen. You get them to take the next easiest step. That's it. Maybe they'll respond, get the dialogue going. And Then after the fifth or sixth email, they'll, or maybe earlier, third email, they'll get on the phone with you and see what you have to, offer.
Perfect. Okay, so you're looking for the better buyers. You're looking for the people that are already spending money, and you're specifically looking for the people that are spending the most amount of money. And I would imagine, based on what you said at the very start of this call, which is niching down and being the expert in a specific field, is that when you're searching for specific industries that you're already the expert in that field, you speak their lingo, you have proof to back it up, and then you're communicating with the people that are basically the big buyers in the marketplace, and you're saying, hey, here's a bunch of stuff that you're doing that could probably be done a little bit better. Here's the stuff that you're doing great already, but let me reiterate, these are the things you could do a bunch better, and I got a way to, maybe help you along the way with that. Let's have a conversation, relaxed, break the ice, what have you. Follow up to 6 or 7 times in follow-up to keep that conversation, that dialogue hopefully going. Then to some sort of an in-person meeting, phone meeting, Zoom meeting, then what happens?
Yeah, so you just get them on the phone. You ask them what's a good time to call. I just call them. And by this time, they've already gotten so much value from me. They've seen what they're doing wrong. They see my personality as well, that, I'm funny and easygoing, casual. And they speak to me as if they already know me.
Cool.
And it works really well. Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, same thing was true with JK. When we put out the case study videos and give value, by the time they got on the phone, they were like, yeah, Dan, I already feel like I know you. So there's something to be said for that in that continued follow-up, where I think a lot of people fall short in prospecting is kind of what they'll go and go to spyfood.com/leads. They'll build a little bit of a list. They'll send one email, and then they won't follow up, and they won't follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. And sometimes that fortune is in the follow-up.
Yeah.
I tell you, as a small business owner myself, what I always looked for in someone that was trying to sell me something was someone that was persistent, instead of this person that just wants it to fall day one, right? It's like, if you're not persistent enough to stick with me through the sales process, for this prospecting process, for a few conversations, and you just think I'm gonna lay down for you day one, it ain't happening. But most salespeople, they're lazy. Salespeople are predominantly lazy. And so if you don't freaking lay down, roll over, and, open up your your shoelaces, a lot of salespeople are on to the next one, right? And that's unfortunate. And when you're trying to land these big, we'll call them whale deals, and they're not following day one, right? It's going to take some persistence. And I'll tell you, the guys that stick with it, like you have with these clients, you're the type of guys that land the big boy deals, because no one else is willing to go through that headache of 6 follow-ups, right? They want the freaking right now deal. And next thing you know, that they're on to the next thing. And so they never dig in deep enough. Yeah,
absolutely. And with this type of process, when you're actually marketing to people that have money, you'll find that you will end up getting higher end type of clients. Instead of getting guys who you have to really persuade,
Sure.
Like my very first carpet cleaner client at $500 a month. These guys would be starting at $5,000 a month at times, whatever works for them. But, I'm willing to give them a shot at $1,000 or $2,000 a month for the first month, to see, so that they can see the value of what I'm bringing to the table, as long as see the potential for them to scale with me. Right. Oh, yeah. I've had clients that started at $1,000 a month. Now they're paying $5,000 a month.
Yeah, the other thing I think is really important to say, and this is something I've been doing lately when I talk to people, I don't think of advertising on a monthly basis any longer. Based on, I was spending upwards of $17,000 a day in advertising. Okay. And so I really think of advertising on a daily basis, because for me, I want to get, I talk about this all the time, but I want to get done in a day what people are willing to usually spend in a year, right? I want to condense, because it's like I say, business isn't linear. Like everyone's got this thing as like, oh, it's going to take me a year to make $300,000. No, you could do it in a day if you wanted to, because honestly, if you can reach enough humans and you can advertise enough, those humans, your math, you could do something what people mentally have thought they could only do in a day or in a year in one singular day. So when I sit down with business owners now and have a conversation, this is just 2 days ago, I had this conversation, and I know you dabble in the Facebook ads and the AdWords and the SEO. I know you do all of them, right? And that's good, because you can kind of come with this consultative type of an approach of how you're going to, get a budget put together and how you're going to help, right? It's not just one thing. But I straight up asked the people now, I said, okay, I need to know how much you're willing to spend a day. Okay. I need a daily budget, right? And, they don't want to sound like cheap asses. But when you break things down on the daily, if they spent $25 a day, that's $250 every 10 days, right? That's $750 a month.
Yeah.
$25 a day, they're almost scared to say it.
It sounds so cheap. Yeah.
Sounds so cheap, right? Well, you're only willing to put $25 into your business a day? Really? Do you expect to make more than $25 a day? I would think so, right? So stop spending so little having these crazy, goals of making 100K a month or 200K a month or whatever they have, and you really do have to start consulting them on that. But I'll tell you, when you put it in the terms of daily budget and you get them thinking of, hey, you spend freaking $10 on Starbucks before noon every day, and you're not willing to put that into your freaking business. But when you start with 5K for some businesses, even though I know you're going to the better buyers, what's 5K? What is it real quick? What is $5,000 divided by 30? Let's just see what that is. 5,000 divided by 30. It's $166 a day, right? Most of these businesses bring in on average, I don't know, every business is different, but just say they bring in $1,000 to $5,000 a day in their business. Wow. Spending 166 is laughable. It really is. $166 a day, but that's a $5,000 a month budget. We broke it down daily, right? So use that question when you're having a conversation with these business owners. Is like, what's your daily budget for marketing?
Yeah,
you're not going to know. So then you have to guide them, and you can guide them with simple numbers like that.
I like that. I've started doing something very similar as well. So instead of saying, hey, let's do a test trial for $5,000 for a month, see how things go. But because I'm doing a lot of paid ads now, everything can move really fast. And, speed to money is so key. So I say, okay, let's do this $5,000 test for a week or for 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And they'll see now suddenly, if you spread that out over the month, now I'm actually asking for them a $10,000 start. Sure. But it's a $5,000 start for 2 weeks. Sounds a lot better, a lot more easy to digest for these people.
The other thing I try to tell people too, when it comes, especially if you start doing anything in the Facebook or AdWords world where it's not just organic traffic, which I do recommend. We got guys like James and Jason that are great with that. They're going to be speaking at the event. But the thing I always say is like, look, when I was spending $17,000 a day on Facebook advertising, okay, at our peak, I didn't go from 0 to 17 grand a day overnight. That took months and months and months and months of building. And the only way you're spending 17 grand a day is if you're killing it. You're absolutely killing it, because you wouldn't spend that type of money. That's 330,000 plus a month, right? No one's spending,
you were killing it.
No one's spending 300 grand a month on advertising if on day 2, day 3 it ain't working, right? So the idea is when you start working with a business owner, and this is how you can ease their mind. Say, listen, I want you to at least commit to a $100 a day budget. But here's the thing: if by day 10 we're not moving in the right direction and we don't have things churning and burning, I'm not going to increase things. I'm not going to keep spending more money. We're going to tail back. We're going to tweak things in, and we're going to get it right. But the bottom line is you have to be, first of all, we have to have enough data coming through the front door, enough leads coming to you so you can tell me what's good, what's bad, and how we make it better. But be committed to the income you want, okay? And be willing to commit some money towards it instead of all these other frivolous things you do, right? And I think that way of handling a business owner is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And real business owners will get that, you know, and you see the difference after a couple of years in this business, man. People with good businesses, they understand this, and people with very struggling type of businesses, they don't. And you probably don't want a customer like that in the long run.
No, absolutely. I mean, I know your very first client, for many people that don't know you, your first client you landed, I think on day 7 it was a guy off Craigslist. He was a carpet cleaner, and he paid you there on the spot. And then, complain and whine and this and that. And you kept him for a certain amount of time. I don't know how long you kept him for, but at a certain point you're like, this is ridiculous. This guy's sucking the life out of me for $750, which I know we all have to start somewhere. We have to take our lumps. We have to learn and get our confidence. But I think these are some really good tips. So other than like the spyfood.com/leads, the insights from AdWords, like what other sorts of prospecting mechanisms are your go-tos?
Yeah, so with the cold email, we are getting their information from SpyFu as well as LinkedIn. We would gather emails from there as well. And, you can take emails from other directories. Now I've got VAs that do that for me, so I don't have to do anything there. Now let's talk about the other longer term type of approach, which would actually bring you the biggest type of clients as well. And it's definitely worth the money once you get your first client. And that's content marketing. I know that sounds super broad, but dude, like I've gotten some big deals from just uploading YouTube videos with my clients and talking about their experiences and just giving off value on YouTube. YouTube is so good in that way. Like, let's say if you're in that divorce niche, right? You interview a divorce lawyer about how he has grown his business through online channels. You upload that, you send some power to those YouTube videos as well to get them ranking higher.
Yep.
Just upload 5 videos, and it's not going to happen instantly, but in a couple of months, you'll get some big clients through that for sure.
Well, so here's one thing I'd say to that, because I've done this, and you're absolutely correct. I've uploaded videos over the years for different things. One specifically, I remember way back it was probably 2011, 2012, Facebook just came out with their Facebook offers. And this was just a coupon thing they tried for a while. I don't think it ever stuck, but the day it went live, I made a video and it said how to create a Facebook offer, right? The new Facebook offer, which there was a lot of search for it day one, right? So I optimized my video for exactly what I know people are going to search for. I upload the video. It's me on a screencast like you've seen me do a million times in all the JK videos, the same strategy. I said, hey, what's up? Facebook just rolled out this offer today. I want to bring you a tutorial on how you guys can roll this out for your small business. Plus, I'm going to give you a bonus too at the end of this video that I think you want to stick around for, okay? So then I walk them through how you do a Facebook offer. And then in the description, I just said, hey, click on this link below and I'll have your bonus waiting for you. They clicked the link below. I had another video which showed them how to hook something into that Facebook offer and pull the customer all the way through. And I said, hey, if you want some more marketing tips and strategies, these are just a few I'm giving out for free. I got some really, really good stuff for small business owners. And I'd have a form, a little Weebly form, and people would fill it out. And guess what? People would fill it out. I would call them and I would make deals off of that. And that was one video. Okay. I think before a certain point when JK started getting big, I took all my old stuff down just because people were asking questions about it, which is fine. But at one point, I think that video had like 5,000, 6,000 views. Not a ton of views, but let's be honest. It took me 3 minutes to set it up. It took me 3 minutes to record the video. That was it. Put it on YouTube, optimized it, made the little landing page. So I'm in this thing 10, 15 minutes. And guess what it is then? It's a fishing line now. It's a fishing line out onto the internet that I know the type of clientele that's looking for that information. Hey, I'm going to probably have some marketers, but I'm also going to probably have some small business owners. And the small business owners that saw those videos, the ones that had a need, guess what they did? They raised their hand and said, this guy's got a lot of value you just gave to me for free on YouTube. I'd like to know more. I'm a dumbass when it comes to marketing online. This guy obviously knows his shit. So yeah. What Abdul is telling you guys is a great idea of using YouTube as a mechanism to have more lines in the water collecting you potential leads, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I would think, so I did this about 2 years ago. I uploaded some videos and those videos don't have too many views, a couple of 100 views only. But the cool thing is, yes, it's not like a 1 million view music video that you watch. This is only 100 views or so, but these are people that are business owners. And even one of them can be worth quite a bit, right? So
the one thing I always tell people is like, look, the internet doesn't sleep, right? So while it's 3 a.m. in California, you may have, Dr. Oz over there in Alabama who can't get a patient into his chiropractic clinic or whatever. And he's doing some searching online and lo and behold, he runs across Abdul's video on, hey, 5 sexy tricks to get more chiropractic clients, and he likes them, he vibes with them. And so while Abdul is sleeping like a little baby in Kazakhstan or wherever the heck you're on vacation this month, he's actually getting a virtual pitch in front of this doctor. And like you said, don't get caught up with how many views it gets. If it gets 10 views and that gets you 1 client, you've done your job. I think the biggest key though is that you consistently put things out there that give value to a specific community or a specific type of person and have a call to action for them to contact you if they want to potentially hire you or work with you or have a conversation with you.
Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. To take it a little further as well, aside from uploading these videos on YouTube, what I also found was just putting out really detailed long post content on where my audience is. Is huge as well. So a dentist may look at YouTube, but they'll also look at industry blogs as well. Absolutely. So what I did was I, took blog posts which already existed out there in the internet. The content is available everywhere, right? I took very high quality content that got read a lot, and I changed it from just an internet marketing content post to a dental internet marketing post. Smart. And I paid a writer $50 or $100, and I said, hey, you know what?
You paid him $5.
No, I paid him $100 actually. Had to be high quality. Upgrading now, right? Leveling up. So So he took this 2,000 word post, which was incredibly detailed.
Well done.
I imagine the original post took like weeks or maybe
Research, all the stuff they went through to get it.
everything.
Yeah.
And I took that information and I basically reworked it, made it completely unique. And then I put together like 10 articles like that. Reached out to Dentistry IQ and also some of the blogs that dentists read, and I got them to publish it. And it was it looked great, and they're like, wow, this is awesome. They published it, and now people read that, they see that Abdul's the expert, and they're willing to pay the big bucks for that.
I love it. I love it. By the way, little side note, I'm pretty sure we just signed the largest dental consulting firm in the U.S. 840 locations, $20 to $40 million a month marketing budget, 20 of which they spend in direct mail, but they want to move to internet.
Wow, is that with Adam Bratland or what?
No, it's with Dan Klein. Come on, man.
How did they find you?
I'm friends with powerful people.
Shit, yo, man.
My friend, very good friend of mine, who brought me the deal, went to high school with the CEO.
Wow. What's the name of this group?
Can't tell you, you little thief. Get out of here.
Come on, man. Let me in. I'll help you out. I know this industry.
Oh, brother. See, this guy's got confidence for days. This guy right here. Hey, I taught you everything you know. You remember that, right?
Of course. You got me started, bro.
No, I'm for sure. I mean, I know you got some tricks up your sleeve for sure, but yeah, we're just waiting for the contract to come back on it. It's a monster deal.
Wow.
140 locations, man, and they literally every location we went through. They've copied the content across every site, so they don't rank anywhere in any market. They have like 5 or 6 people internally that have been doing it that don't know what they're doing. They're a multi-billion-dollar company, and they want to have a better foothold on the internet if they're going to continue their growth, which they want to continue their growth because they're freaking massive, and they just gobble people up, and they have a system and a process. So it's really interesting. And so that deal kind of came to fruition yesterday. We're just waiting on the final contracts, but the marketing button, these guys, like you were just saying, these guys spend $20 to $40 million a year in marketing. So they don't have to be convinced that spending some money per location's a good idea. They know, they just want it done right.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Cool stuff. So any other like words of wisdom that you could pass along to students?
By the way, are you going to cut the previous step? The past minute or two?
No.
Oh shit. Okay. Any other word? Huh?
I don't edit anything.
Yeah, right. All right. So any other words of wisdom when it comes to prospecting?
Yeah.
Honestly, what I found for myself, the biggest thing is getting big enough clients so that you can have a freedom-driven lifestyle and it really enjoy your life. Because if you have 100 clients paying you, let's say you've got 100 clients paying you an average of $300 in profit, right? That's 30 grand a month. It's not really, it's good, but it's a lot of work. Now you have to hire staff behind that. Now you have to do like everything to support that 30 grand a month in profit. Whereas if you've got an average profit per client of 1 grand or 2 grand, let's say it's 2 grand, you just need 15 clients to make a profit of 30 grand a month. You can be traveling, you can be doing anything. You don't have too much staff to worry about. My revenue is really good right now. Yeah. I have less than 20 clients.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I've got people, I've got contractors that do all the work. I'm not doing any of the grunt work myself anymore. But that is only possible when your average value per client is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can afford to pay people, delegate the work, get it done in the best way possible yourself. I think that's been like the biggest revelation for me in the past year or so.
Look at companies like Rolex, right? Look at companies that are high-end, Tiffany's, like don't get it twisted. The
Walmarts make good money too. Yeah.
But what I will say is you look at those companies like the Rolexes, like they built in so much margin in their product. They can afford to advertise, sign the sponsors. And of course it doesn't have to be like a Rolex, but even Nike, it's like they make those shoes for $10, $12 and you're selling them for $160, $170, right? So what you're saying is true against all businesses. The cheap brands, okay, you have to have so much volume, okay? And it is a model, but I'm in agreement with you. If you can have better and bigger clients have less responsibilities, and serve the people that are the bigger spenders, and have 10 clients or 20 clients that pay you the big money. I love that strategy. What I love even more is having big paying clients and then having a lot of those. Then you make the real money, like 10, 20 million, you know? So
one or two of those, isn't it?
yeah. So, you know, what you're saying is really good advice, but that's also a mental game for a lot of people. Like it's hard to think like 30 grand. Some people have never seen 30 grand in a year that are going to watch this. Okay. So to think of 30 grand in a month, and then you basically are saying, hey, it's not that much money. And they're going, you're freaking crazy, Abdul. But it's interesting how the way your mind has changed from being a banker who probably made 10, 12 grand a month back when I met you and you were laid off. And then now you think 30 grand is something to turn your nose up at, which is awesome. It just shows your mental game, how it's really changed, because the skill sets, I can promise every one of you guys watching this right now, is no better than you at running SEO campaigns or whatever. He went through the same knowledge. He used the same backlinking strategies, same citations. And, you know, he's leveled up in some information and got AdWords training and got good at that and spent his own money and all those things. But at the end of the day, he's mentally light years ahead. And that's why he's playing at these different levels now. And that's why I constantly give you crap to try to continue leveling your brain up mentally. I mean, we've had these conversations when you hit the 10 grand mark, when you hit the 20, 30 grand mark, and, you know, and upwards, and it's continued pushing you to continue playing big, not playing small. And that confidence also shows through when you have a conversation with your personal injury attorney or whatever, and they know that this dude doesn't play small either. The personal injury attorney doesn't want to play small. If he's running the whole U.S., that guy plays big. That guy buys penthouses in Vegas when he takes you out for a weekend to have you come and visit him. He doesn't want to play $700 a month. So some of these things that Abdul is saying to you guys right now are really good to take to heart now and start trying to think on his level. It's like surround yourself with guys like Abdul who play on a larger scale, who look at 30 grand in a month as a joke, okay? And start trying to pick guys like his brain. Right? That's important, because that's what's going to send you to the next level and get you out of thinking like small town Oklahoma or wherever, right? Small town Oregon, doesn't matter. But you start think small, you hang around with small thinking people, your bank account's small, right?
Absolutely.
You've hung around with, from when I've seen you, there's one guy that you ask questions to all the time, and he does a couple $100 grand a month. And I know you asked me a lot of questions over the last, I don't know if there's any other influencers that have like helped you level up your thinking, but you think 100 million times percent different than you did when I got a hold of you 3 years ago. So well, that stuff you shake on your hair.
100%, man. I think when we first started talking, I was so ecstatic, dude. When I landed that $500 a month carpet cleaner, I was super ecstatic. And now you mentioned, you know, another dude who makes around 100K a month. I don't talk to him as often anymore, because now, you know, my goals are like $1 million a month, you know, Dan clients. So I'm still talking to you though.
Yeah, there you go. No, I just think it's important for people when they see you and ask you questions to understand, like, these are the types of people I put on these interviews. I put them on for a reason. You know, I put them on so people can see that, dude, this guy can do it. Why can't I? But then also to kind of hear your mental game, which is what I believe is why you're successful. I don't think it's because you're that good at SEO. I don't think it's because you're amazing at AdWords or whatever. I think your mental game has got so much stronger in the way that you look at the business and how you approach your day. And that's really why you're having the success that you are. Of course, the fundamentals of prospecting and selling and providing a service have to be there. That's your baseline, right? But it just comes down to this mental game that obviously the top players that I talk to in JK, they all have this strong mental game. And so I want to, more than anything, I know this is all about prospecting, but make sure I point that out to everyone, Abdul's mental game strength, because it's a big deal.
100%. And I highly recommend to build that, you know, Dream 100 or your funnel right off the bat, because when you buy into some coaching, your motivation levels are super high, and you want to supplement that motivation by some, you know, winning. And you do that by putting in your prospecting methods in place as soon as possible, get some wins under your belt. And then talking about the premium level, when you say that, you know, your service is going to cost $5,000 a month, that attorney is going to be like, this is my guy. As opposed to if someone says $500 a month, it's like, you know, he's a low end type of dude. I want to make millions. I want to work with someone who's thinking at the same level. You know, that's what I would do.
It's interesting. Like I wasn't always like this, but when I went to go buy my wife a car, and the salesman that I had working with me, all he was trying to do was show me the cheaper version of the Escalade. well, this one, dude, this one, you'd save a little bit of money. And it's less. I'm like, bro, I don't want to save money. Like, I want the best. Stop freaking showing me how I save money. The guy that I went in and it was Tori's birthday on Sunday, and we went in to get her a new iPhone. And I'm in there, like, love gadgets, and I see the new iPad, and it's like the big one. And she's getting her phone, and I go, dude, tell me about that iPad. I'm like, I want that. And he comes out with the small one. And he's like, he comes out and he goes, dude, I got this one, dude. It's only $100 down and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I want the big one. He's like, but let me tell you about this because it's only $399 and that one's $1,300. And I go, but I want the big one. And he's like, well, just hold on. And he's like, and I'm like, but here's the problem, right? The problem is money isn't an abundance. It wasn't an abundance to him. So he's thinking with his own mind and he's going, I wouldn't buy the big one because the big one's $1,300 and you can buy this one for $399 with the special we got going on. Why the hell, what kind of idiot would buy the big one when you could buy the small one and save money? And I'm like, I want the best. I want the newest. It just came out the day before. And I talked to Tori after we left and I was like, did you notice that? She's like, yeah. And I go, it's interesting though. And this is a great message for everyone listening to this because how you in your life, the things that you're going through, maybe you live in a small podunk apartment and you don't got more than $15 in your account. You have to separate your personal finances and the way that you're currently living. And you have to start thinking and being like the person you want to be. So you might not be there now, but you need to start talking like a millionaire, okay? You need to start thinking like the millionaire. Because when you sit down with that attorney and you try to go cheapo on him and you try to show him all the this, that, and the other thing, he's going, dude, I want the best. I don't want the freaking cheap one. Money in abundance to me. I want the best guy or gal working on this project. So catch yourself before you wreck yourself and freaking make sure when you're speaking to people that you don't put yourself in their shoes and try to sell them what you would buy because you're not them. They're light years ahead of you, right?
Exactly. Don't impose your reality on them. They want the best and, let them have the best. When it was that attorney's birthday, he invited me over to his mansion in Miami. People were giving him like really good gifts and stuff, right? And of course, I was just starting out with him, and I didn't want to give him like $1,000 gift. But I'm like, this guy wants the best still. So I went. Have you heard about Saks underwear? It's the best underwear out there. It's like $40 a pair.
SAX or SACS?
SAXX. Okay, dude, it's the best underwear out there. $40 a pair. I went, bought him a couple, and I gave it to him. He loved it, dude. He was like, man, this is awesome. I feel so free. It's life-changing.
The moral of the story, buy your clients underwear.
I'll bring some for you in Vegas if you want.
Good. I'll let you know what I think. So no, it's just good. Don't impose your reality as if it's their reality. Because I think too often that's happening in sales across the board, in prospecting across the board. Be willing to level your game up. It takes confidence. It does take some swagger to be able to do that. And the only way you're going to get swagger is if you listen and you hang around guys like Abdul. Now, I want to say something before I go any further. I don't bring any schmuck on and interview them. Everyone that you guys have seen on are people that I've vetted. I respect them. I know that they're not bullshitting you, okay? If they're in the JK group, okay, and they haven't been kicked out and started other stupid Facebook groups and try to, like, there's a reason those people were never interviewed. I'm being honest. Like, there's a reason, like the OGs, guys like Abdul that have been around, that have built real businesses, that do it the right way. There's a reason I'm telling you guys to listen to guys like this. You'll learn a lot from them. You hang around with guys like this. When you see him in Vegas, get his ear, and in the future, I know from just talks with you, there'll probably be something I know just by who you are, you'll step into a coaching and consulting role with the success that you've had. And I don't know when that will happen or if that will happen or if that's in the cards necessarily, but I think it's something that you want to do in the future. He's a guy that I would listen to. He's a guy that I would say, hey, JKers, this is, and if you ascend to the next level, he's done more money a month than I have in his agency. I only got to 40 grand a month, and then job killing blew up, and I'm sitting here busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest trying to keep up with life, So all I'm saying is like, inspect what you expect. I inspect what I expect from these guys that I put on camera with you guys this week, and just try to hang around, try to be around guys like this and level your game up. I think that's the biggest thing. Any other things before we close out?
No, that's it, man. Just keep at it, keep grinding, keep supplementing that motivation and confidence. Work on your mental game. I even like got this book. I don't know if you've read this. I mean, I don't read most books cover to cover. I don't think I even read this one cover to cover, but it just tells you to visualize your day when you're making $100,000 a month or whatever, right? So whatever your goals are,
Yep.
and it helps you communicate with confidence with these people as well. So
Last little tip for guys for exactly what Abdul just said, just a little thing that you guys all might be interested in. I just started using it. It's called Blinkist. Okay. It's called Blinkist. It's an app, BLINK EST, Blinkist. Takes a book like Psycho-Cybernetics or whatnot and breaks it down into like 7 or 8 blinks. They're about 3 minutes in length. And in about 15 minutes, you'll have the entire book, the guts and the main points of the book. And you can start your day off, do some cardio, listen to a blink, and you can kind of get the gist of an entire book like that. And some really good takeaway points from books that you maybe have had on your list. So I know I'm the same way. I can't stay focused enough to finish all the way through a book cover to cover. But those blinks, I've been going through stuff, just on a drive. And I'm like, some big takeaways because they have like every title on there. It's in audio form. It's pretty good. So check it out. I think it's like $7 a month, but I mean, you get unlimited books to go through, which is sick.
nice. Awesome.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for jumping on with me. I'm going to get back to work. We'll see you. Have a safe flight. We'll see you in Vegas.
Sounds good, man. Thank you very much. See you around.
All right, we're good. We're recording now. What's up, guys? I got Hayden, Mr. Power.
Hayden Power. And Zac Efron on the left-hand side of the screen. You guys seen Baywatch yet? Because we're live. We're live with Zac Efron.
We're live. So I got Hayden on. So crazy kind of story about Hayden was about, this was it a year ago?
Probably about, maybe a little over.
Maybe a little over a year ago. I want to say that the calendar appointment came in, and I got this weirdo, and I wasn't taking calls at the time, right?
No, you weren't. Apparently not. Apparently you're too busy for calls at that time.
I was just, we had like 70 appointments a day type thing, and I wasn't taking calls anymore. And I think it was Shiv, and he was like, this guy's like demanding to speak to you. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I'll jump on. It's all good. And I think at the time you were just engaged to Jess. You guys weren't married quite yet. And then we had to call, you ended up getting on the phone, and we had to call her in because you wanted her to just kind of hear the strategy of what JK was all about, right?
Yeah.
And you probably remember it better than even I do, but I remember I was like, I feel like I was heading to the airport or something like that.
You were, man. You were. It was not a sales call. You were like, all right, you have any more questions, man? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? It was like, that was not a sales call on your end. That was like an enrollment call for me. I was already sold, and I think my application said that on there. I'm ready.
Yeah. It was funny though. I remember packing my bags, and I'm like, bro, you're on speaker right now. I'm packing my bag. Yeah. Like, keep asking questions. I'll keep explaining stuff. But no, it was super funny. So then it came to the point where we're getting more and more busy, and I put a little post in JK, and I was like, hey, I need to get some more sales guys. I'd like to keep it in the family, people that understand what this is all about. And then at that point, you kind of came on with us, and you started doing sales for us, crushed it for us. Then he got married, went away on his honeymoon. He came back, and
don't say it. And
he actually forgot how to sell. And
motherfucker.
But no, I'm messing with him. But so as our we stopped running as many ads for JK, and we just kind of like went into kind of the mode we're in now, which is kind of just few referrals and things like that. Hayden stepped off and really started going after his agency. And not only just, with SEO, in fact, I don't even know if you do the SEO side of things. It's more like lead gen specific to a specific industry, chiropractic, right?
Yeah. And
you're specifically running Facebook advertising and generating leads that way. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. We do have more than just chiropractors as our client base, but I'd say 90% of them are chiropractors outside of one other big niche I'm in, which I won't say, but it's a big franchise, about 180 locations. We're just about to, September is when that deal should close.
Cool.
We're working with about 15 of their locations right now, but pretty much all of our strategies now are Facebook advertising based. Obviously didn't start that way with JK, but we've since kind of doubled and tripled down with ads on Facebook. You've
really kind of went like the expert route, which I've heard come up several times. You've kind of said like, hey, I'm the expert in this one niche or whatever. And you understand the niche very well. You've researched the niche very well. You speak their lingo.
Yeah.
You've networked with them. You've actually found some connectors that have large bases that learn other things in those spaces. So like whether it's, the business strategies or sales strategies for chiropractics, and then they're connecting you for marketing strategies, which is genius, of course.
Yep.
Obviously, this what everyone's kind of watching this this interview or these videos for is all about prospecting, right? So without having a prospect, you can't make a sale. So prospecting is a lot of times the name of the game for somebody, and some people struggle with prospecting because they only think you can prospect one way, which is, I got to cold call people and try to sell them that way. And it's been really cool to hear all these different people I've interviewed, because everyone's kind of went their own little direction for prospecting. And I think out of all the interviews, I don't hear anyone saying, well, I just sit on the phone and make 100 cold calls a day. Like, no one has said that. All these successful people are using different techniques and strategies. And so, I train a lot of stuff. I train a lot of prospecting. Prospecting is really my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But not everyone vibes with Dan. Not everyone's going to do what I do. So I want to get other people. The cool thing, guys, about Hayden is, I think it was probably about January or so where you really started to double down after being on the phones for us for so long.
Yep.
For actual business.
Yep.
And 5 to 6 months, I don't know what your rev is at now, but I thought you told me it was up over 20,000 a month.
It was. Yeah, it's higher than that now, but yeah, it was. A few months back.
Yeah, is that Canadian or is that US? I mean, let's be honest here.
It's US.
Oh, it is.
Everything's built in US, man.
So you're not playing the Abdul card, right? You're not playing the Abdul card, giving Canadian numbers, really fluffing things up 20, 30%?
Yeah, well, 34% is what the exchange is about. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so talk to me about some of the things you're doing to get these business owners.
Yeah, good question, man. I think it's continually changing and it's evolving as we continue to grow. And like you're saying, we become more of an authority or an expert in our niche, which is how we try to position ourselves. And these people seem to just, you start sounding intelligent enough and they'll call you an expert before you got to call yourself an expert is what I've found. Right. And it's a lot to do with positioning, but to start in the space, we put out Facebook ads. We put out what we would consider, an irresistible offer, I guess, quote unquote, but something that at the end of the day, they couldn't say no to, right? We want to deliver so much value up front, like you always talk about with the fast and sexy approach, right? Deliver results in advance, especially if you can't leverage past results or case studies. So we started that way. We did really good for, I think we probably started on 3 or 4 trials. These were people that would go through an ad that we would have set up, and ultimately they would schedule a call with me. So there's a positioning strategy, the same way that people would fill out the JK form, right? They were filling out, what was their practice name? How long have they been licensed? What are their objectives? What are their biggest challenges in their business? Where do they want to be? What's a certain amount of new patients a month they would like to see, which is what they call basically people coming through their doors and opportunities to sell them. Right. So I already had a bit of ammo on them, right? I could do some research on them, find how good their presence was or how bad it was, and leverage that on the call. Calls were like 30 to 45 minutes typically, sometimes longer. And on that call, ultimately I set them up for a 3-week trial. In my position, what we did is basically pay for the ads. We would set everything up. We would deliver results in advance. You could do the same thing with AdWords, right? You're just showing at the end of the day that your words are congruent with your actions, and you can say what you say you can do, whether they hit a home run that week or they barely get on first base, not the point. Fact is they're not getting jack shit, right? At that point, a lot easier to ask for the money. 9 out of 10 people that started a trial converted into a patient or a client, I guess, for us, sorry. And from there, even bigger than we've turned off our Facebook ads this last little bit for a few different reasons. One of the main ones is that we connected, like you said, with a few people that are in some pretty big circles. They're influencers in the industry. One's a business consultant. They work with 52 chiropractors, very, very close communication with them. He helps them with every avenue of their business. And I've learned that in that vertical specifically, almost everyone struggles with getting new people through the door, just like every freaking other business, right? But they're very upfront about it. So I've connected with them. I've connected with a few other people, 300-400 people groups. And now it's pretty much all referral based, right? When you actually deliver the value that you say you can deliver, it's very easy to continue to get new clients is what I found.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. Like it's like a snowball, right? It's like, you got to get the ball rolling a little bit, but then once the ball's rolling and you do in fact deliver on what you promised you were going to deliver, getting referrals is so simple. And
I don't even ask for them.
Exactly. It's been the theme across every one of these interviews I've done. I ask people, hey, what's your top 2 or 3? And in the top 3 every time is referrals. And like everyone pretty much says the exact same thing. Like, I don't even ask for them anymore. I just get them. And it's like, I don't have to worry about, filling my pipeline like I used to. It's so hard though for people that are struggling to get their first deal, right? Like they can't, it's literally like a mental block. I talked about this last night on the call about just, how we look at our business at this, like in this linear fashion of like, oh, I'm going to have 15 clients and make $10K a month in 12 months.
Yeah.
In all reality, that's just a mental thing you've told yourself or sold yourself. And in all reality, like right now, today, you could go get a client, whether that's pro bono, whether that's, whatever you have to do to get the client on your side and get them referring you other people that they know. Because once you have that trust agent, man, it's so easy. Think about every situation you've ever bought something, you tell your buddy about it. Dude, I bought this ice maker. It's the sickest ice maker ever. And then my buddy's buying it and my brother's buying it. And that's how we buy, right? You look at Amazon. What are you doing? You're looking at the reviews of what everyone else said about the product before you place the order. They don't give a shit about what they said about their product. And so the same thing is so true. And I just want people to really take notice of this, because you've went incredibly fast in the growth of this thing, and you're going to grow, I know, over the next year even more, because your pipeline's full. You've connected with connectors. Your referrals are going to be through the roof, and you're delivering on what you sold them in the first place. Mm-hmm. I just think it's good, whether it's SEO or lead gen, or in your case, you're doing Facebook advertising for these businesses. It doesn't matter what the mechanism or the control is that you're using to get the leads. The bottom line is make a choice, double down on it like Hayden did. Because I tried to recruit you back to do some more selling on the phone for me, and you're like, I'll be working for myself now, sir. I'm like, hey, I respect that, but I think just having that confidence to double down on yourself, and just go out there and build a business. Now you have an office, you have all these things, your business is growing, and in a short amount of time. Are you frozen up? I think he's frozen. All right, sorry, we froze up there. I was just saying you got your own office now, and clearly you don't have Wi-Fi because you're freaking frozen again as I'm looking at you. So here's what I'm going to do.
You there?
I'm here, man. Are you? You're like I
can kind of hear you every now and then.
You're frozen in time. Well, dude, I don't need to belabor this. I just want to get you on real quick, just get another person, another perspective of things you can do to prospect. So thanks for coming on. I don't think we're going to get your Wi-Fi back in action. So I'm going to close this baby down. Thanks so much, Hayden, for jumping on. Okay, we're good. What's up, guys? I got JR on today for Limitless Prospecting. Thanks for getting on, first of all. Short notice, like I always do. Last minute. Hey, let's do this thing, right? I hit you up at 7 a.m. and we're on at 11:45. So I wanted to bring JR on just because he's been in the group for what, about a year? Year and a half?
About a year and a half.
Yeah, been a year and a half. Consistent. I feel like you're always on the weekly calls, at least when you can make it. Even though you don't need to be, because I probably say a lot of the same things over and over and over again. But there's always little nuggets to learn. And I think more than anything, just staying plugged in with the industry when you're in an industry is huge. But the thing reason why I wanted to kind of bring you on was you've really kind of taken hold of the lead gen kind of rental model, right? Where I feel like a lot of people, they kind of go the SEO only route and they don't develop their own properties. And so I thought it was just interesting. Like, I think you made a post yesterday that you have like 20 rental sites out there.
Correct.
And it's so cool because you look at I always look at real estate, right? I always talk about real estate and how much it would cost to have 20 rental homes. Even if they were $100,000, $150,000 homes, I mean, you're talking $2.5 million in real estate to have that type of rental. And you've been able to do it with these 20 properties with, at a fraction, right? You have
right.
Thousandth of a fraction, but yet they still bring in rental income like an actual home, like a $500 to $1,000 a month rent, which is huge, right? And I was telling you before we even started recording, like, I wish more people, even though I know it can be a little bit more of a slugfest to get the rental properties done and find the tenant to put in there that's going to pay you the monthly fee, the control that you hold when you own that property and that tenant wants to vacate maybe in the future, and all of your hard work has been, it's been encapsulated in time from all the backlinking you did months and months ago. You own that property. And I really hope people watch this interview and take note of it, because too many people give up on the rental side of things and the lead gen side, and they go SEO because it's a check today. But it's a check today. But I was talking with one of our best students yesterday, and they have a really big client that they've been doing only SEO for. And that is a big chunk of their income. And that income is going to drop off now. That client's saying, oh, well, I think we're going to do a different direction. And in your case, it's like, okay, you can go wherever you want. I got 25 other clients that would love all these leads and I own it, So I think that's cool just from your story standpoint. But let's kind of jump into your top 2 or 3 prospecting techniques, kind of what you're doing so people could kind of take a look into your world, into your business.
Okay. Well, since I concentrate mostly on lead gen, I don't go looking for SEO. So SEO kind of has to come to me. Somebody either seeks me out or it gets referred to me.
Right.
And so my top way that I do get leads is from referrals.
Okay.
And I've made some business relationships with some people that I've known from past business, and also from some people where I've helped them to develop their site. For instance, I have one that's in Las Vegas, and he's a business consultant. And so he helps people a lot with getting their businesses started. And so he refers people to me all the time.
Yeah, it's a great referral agent. I think the toughest thing, so everyone I've interviewed, every one of them, referral is in their top technique that they use now for getting business. And so it's just interesting, and it's really good for people to hear that, because it only takes a couple of your first few deals to start getting those referrals in. I think the hardest part for people is it's hard to get referrals when you don't have any clients yet, right? So one technique that I think is really important that people kind of latch onto is, if you don't have clients, and you're hearing all these successful students all get lots of referrals, go be an intern. Go work for free on your first deal, if you have to build the trust, to build the case study. Especially if those people are potential connectors. They know everyone, like this business coach. Imagine if you go do that guy a solid. He's going to blab and run his mouth about JR everywhere. And yeah, it costs you maybe some time, but that's your cost to acquire your leads, right?
Right.
And I think we don't, as marketers, we only look at how much cash we're going to get in from every client. And sometimes we got to just say, hey, look, I'm going to invest my time and energy and effort, and maybe even some of my money, into this one guy, because he's got the keys to the castle to every one of the people out there that I need to be doing business with. And I just need his referral, right? So what sorts of things, I know you do some kickbacks too, like when someone gives you business, you were talking to me about that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I have no problem giving a referral fee. In fact, I usually offer something that's about equivalent to the first month's rental on one of my sites to somebody who gives me a referral that turns into a rental.
Okay.
So that works really well. In the case of my guy in Las Vegas, since I built his web property for him, I told him what it was going to cost him per month, and then I've never charged him that, because I get so many leads from him. And he'll even go to the point where I'll see him posting on Facebook, where he'll comment about the fact that if you are not using my services, you're leaving money on the table. He posted something like that the other day.
That's the best. The best type of person is someone else doing the cheerleading for you, because it's not you sitting there telling everyone how great you are. It's someone else telling. And that's always the best way to get a client. I got referred. It was my brother referred me to a guy. I was talking about this last night on the call. And I showed up to the meeting with this tank top and board shorts on, flip-flops, and it didn't matter. The guy's like, well, your brother, I saw him at the gym. He said you're legit, so let's talk. And it's like, cool, totally comfortable. I don't need to go in and impress him. I've already been edified by someone else. I guess we can't hammer it home enough. Once you get a couple of these deals going, those referrals are going to be a huge source of income. But you got to stick with it. You got to get your first couple clients. You might even have to do some pro bono work if you struggle on getting that first client, because you want those connectors sending you business. Let's move to the next kind of thing that you do. That's with vendors. You're talking about like how you get business that way. Talk about that.
It just makes so much sense, and you do it too. Whenever I've got to have something done around the house, I start interviewing the vendors that I'm going to bring in. So if I'm going to, like I did carpet cleaning on a unit that I had across the street from this particular house, and it was turning into a rental property. So I started talking to carpet cleaners. I picked one that I liked, and I knew he didn't rank well. And I sat there with him the whole time he was cleaning the carpets on his shoulder, talking to him about what I could do for him and how I could make him more money. By the time we were done, I had him signed up as a $600 a month client. So I do this all the time. I've got a new vendor coming out to install pavers in my patio next week, and I'm going to do the same thing with him. So I approach any vendor that I'm doing business with and try and get business out of them.
Yeah, I look at it, I call it the license to pitch, right? You hired them, you're paying them oftentimes, which, there's a difference when you exchange money with someone else and you give them that person money for their labor. That reciprocation, there's definitely that feeling of reciprocation that we all have as humans. And I don't think that strategy is done enough. I don't think people are thinking about their business 24/7. So when they need something done around their house, they don't automatically go like, oh my gosh, I can help this person. But yet every one of us that's going to be watching this, we all live somewhere. We all have things done from time to time, maybe some more than others. But the bottom line is if every time you guys are buying carpet clean or getting some drywall fixed or hiring a painter to do some trim work, these are all licenses to pitch these folks. And if you do it the right way, you're going to get a lot of these services for free at the end of the day too. I know that's what I do a lot. I oftentimes just trade them out for some fixes and some help. But I think it's a great one. I think it gets overlooked. I don't think enough people are doing it, but I think it's a great one that you're bringing up here. Talk to me about some of the other things you're doing. I know you talked about batch calling, some of the strategies you use when you build a lead gen site. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Right. And I'll give you a great backstory on batch calling. I'll explain what it is first. Okay. Batch calling is that whenever I'm researching a niche, either for somebody else or for myself, like I've had people who've approached me and said, well, I need leads in XYZ city for this type of business. And I'll research it and I'll quote them a price. And they'll say, oh, no, I don't want to pay that. Well, immediately that's my license to launch. So I really don't care. I mean, if somebody says, hey, $1,250 isn't a month and is too much, then I know that I'm going to go launch it anyway. And maybe I'm only going to get $900 a month for it, but I'm going to launch it as a lead gen site regardless of that guy turning me down or not. But at that point, I have already made a list of all of his competitors. And so I've got that list going. So I launch the site, I get it all built, I start it ranking, I start running AdWords on it. And then I sit down with my batch, and my batch is that list. And I just start going right down that list, calling all of those guys to see which one of them is going to bite. And I have closed huge deals on the phone doing batches like that. And my big example was last year when we left Reload. Everybody went down to the pool on Sunday, and it was just too hot for me. I couldn't stand it out there. Yeah. So I went back up. I built a lead gen site, built a batch list, and then Monday when I was sitting at the airport to catch my ride home, I had 15 vendors to call. Yep. By the time I hit number 9, I had somebody who was willing to pay me for it. I had asked them, I said, look, if I could get you 100 new leads per month, what would that do to your business? And he says, I'd make another $300,000 a year. And I said, well, then would it be worth paying me $30,000 a year for that? And he said, absolutely. And so just like that, I had to close right then and there on the phone with somebody that I've never met. I didn't show him a website. I didn't do anything other than tell him what kind of leads I could produce in his industry. And he was ready to sign up. So, and to go along with that, what had happened was because he was number 9, I'd left voicemail messages for some of the 8 previous to him. And after I get off the phone with him, this woman sitting next to me looks up from her book, just shocked. I mean, she looks at me and she goes, did I just hear you make $30,000? I'm just like, yeah.
Did I just hear you make $30,000? That's hilarious.
And so she goes back to her book, and I get a phone call back from somebody that I'd left a voicemail, and the guy says, well, what are you talking about? And I explained the same thing to him. I said, I'm sorry, you're too late. I've already, I'm already working with somebody, and I can't have 2 vendors in the same business in Las Vegas. And the guy says, all right, I understand that, and that's honorable of you. He said, but if that guy screws you, if he doesn't pay you, you call me because I'll give you $30,000 a year.
Interesting.
And so, and I got him to commit that same thing. So but that's batch calling. I mean, it works really well. I think it's really motivating because when you see that you've got 15 different people, if somebody is pushing back on you, you can push back on them because you really don't care. I mean, if you're dealing with just one guy and, one opportunity, you're gonna have it in your gut. Oh crap! I'm not gonna get this deal. Whereas if you got 15, you can say, hey, if you aren't gonna give me $3,000, I'm just calling your other competitors. So goodbye. Yeah. And you hang up and you move on.
Walk us through the scripting of maybe how you approach those phone calls, because I think that's something people often struggle with. Is like I'm not a big cold call guy myself. So right. I sit and train a whole bunch on. So it'd be interesting to kind of hear. I mean, we kind of got a glimpse of what you said to the guy broken up, but like when you're batch calling, so the idea is you identify your marketplace, you build your lead gen site. This lead gen site was less than 12 hours old, right? Or 24 hours old. So you're not generating leads in it, but in your gut, you're going to generate leads with it through the different people that So then you go and you built a batch of all of the people that would be potential for the leads that this thing is going to produce, the fruit that's going to produce.
Correct.
Their name, their email, their phone number. And then the calling started. And this happened to be in the airport where you're doing the calling. Talk to us about what is that script? What is that like? What does that sound like?
Yeah, the first thing that I'll typically do is because I've already had success in that particular industry, I'm going to put myself as what a friend of mine calls the expert from out of town. And I have a good friend who had written a book called The Expert of Out of Town, from Out of Town, and I believe that it does come across very, very well. I'm not calling on somebody who is in Reno. I'm calling on somebody who's in this other town. So in this particular case, it was Las Vegas. And so I'm going to come that route, as that I am the expert in their industry. And the other thing that I do is I call one of my past clients who's already enjoying leads, and I warn them. I say, I'm going to throw your name around a lot and your business name around a lot. So if you get a phone call from somebody, please back me up on this. So I set that premise first, because I am going to mention somebody. And then once I pick up the phone, I just explain right off the bat with the business manager that, and I'm going to call it plumbing in this case, but it's my niche is I only have one plumber. But what I would say is, hey, I'm the expert in getting leads for plumbers throughout the country. And I've got clients from here to Florida that rely on me to give them a lot of leads and increase their business. And I looked at your situation online, and I can tell right now that you're not getting the bulk of the calls. And the person who's actually getting the bulk of the calls in Las Vegas is Wiley's Plumbing. And they're getting 80% of the phone calls that occur on the internet. And so you've got to look at it and realize Wiley's is doing really well, and they can easily have some business taken away from them. Would you be interested in picking up some of that business? And so if I throw it out that way, one, that I am the expert, two, that there are people in their industry that I already know are beating them, then they're more likely to listen to me, because I'm not Joe SEO asshat that's calling up and saying, I can get you to the number one spot in Google.
That's what I was actually going to stop you when you made your initial and point out to everyone what you didn't say. Because to me, that was the most refreshing thing about, and I didn't know what your pitch was. It's cool to hear it, because the norm of, the asshats that call these business owners, you're not ranking very good on Google. What could I could get you to number one. Click, dude. It's every day, 50 times a day. You said things so differently, refreshing, and business owners aren't going to, it's a pattern interrupt to them. It's not the same old that they've heard day in and day out that they're sick and tired of hearing from. So I just want to point that out to everyone, because even people in JK, even though we harp on it nonstop to not be the cliche guy from India doing the scripted pitch that says, I can get you the number one on Google, people still do it because they can't think outside the box, and they're oftentimes copycat artists. Right. So in this case, be a copycat artist of a pitch like that. So let's talk about just a couple things, because I know these questions come up. Like, what's your go-to for gatekeepers? Do you get hit with gatekeepers a lot when you're doing this batch calling?
I don't. I find it surprising that people say that they do, because I really don't get hit with a lot of gatekeepers. And I don't know if it's because I'm finding owners' first names and I'm asking on the first name, or what. I would say I get a gatekeeper maybe 1 out of 30 calls. Interesting. I wonder if it's the niches you're going into as well. Probably, because I'm not doing niches where it's a company with a receptionist and a boardroom. These are guys that are in the ditches with their businesses. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, you definitely, knowing some of the niches you're in, you're not in the cliche plumbing niche per se, right. Which you're going to have oftentimes a gatekeeper or the electrician and the gatekeeper and things like that. Yeah. So I think that's also something. I'm not going to talk about your niches because those are yours, and you've found some very unique stuff that you want to keep to yourself, which I respect. But I think there's something to be said for, hey, you go into more obscure niches or different types of niches that, they don't get 50 calls a day with even the presentation you just got, or, they're niches where they're kind of sometimes forgotten a little bit. And that allows them to not have to deal with these marketing calls day in and day out. The problem with going into the big cliches, the roofers, the tow trucks, the plumbers, the electricians, all the ones that you see so many people still landing deals in JKN, the problem is they get hit by every marketer every day. And so to break through is actually very difficult. But when you get outside the lines, like last night I talked about the food delivery niche, like for these pre-packaged meals, they don't have a receptionist. When you call their business, you're getting the owner on the phone right off the bat. And there's literally no one else in the map pack for that niche in my marketplace. So it's super low hanging fruit and they need help, right? So it's like there's a lot of those interesting niches. A really good way for everyone listening to that to kind of jog your memory for interesting niches that maybe is not the cliche. Go onto Google, the Google Maps or Google My Business, and just start typing in the word A and then go B. And you're going to see a list of categories come up, and you're going to come up with some interesting niches. For instance, I did
I always say it wrong, but it's feng shui. It's a certain type of interior design. So I was just going A, B, C, D, E, F, and I hit F, and it's like feng shui. So I'm like, well, heck, I'm going to launch a feng shui map listing. Launched it. I get calls I closed it down because I didn't want it, like, I did it like at a specific location. I didn't want people to know I had that location. And I did it. I got it verified. I put a tracking number on it. And that thing gets calls to this day through the tracking line, people looking for interior design specific to feng shui. It's like, and I bet I could call interior designers and get right through them, no gatekeeper, because that's not an industry that has gatekeepers.
Right.
So that is something, like, if I looked through all the questions that people had about limitless prospecting, and they were like, how do you get through the gatekeepers? And I think it's oftentimes get outside the lines of the regular niches and start exploring other things that are interesting and you can get through, and use this batch calling methodology. Like Jared's saying, like, get a batch of all the people so you know that you don't just have one person, and if they say no, your whole entire life is blown up, Right. Talk to me about the web directory that you've done.
Yeah, I built, ironically, I started building this web directory before I joined JK, and I was doing it with a project with a buddy of mine up in Portland, and he bailed on me. He was like, you build it, I'll sell it, and then I built it and he didn't sell it. So I turned around, I flipped it up for free, and I built it really well. It's got some SEO stuff in it that works really, really well. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I've done is I would go out and invite people to put their listings on it. And so I would go out, and again, in batches, it was the pilot car business. So pilot car companies across the country. And these guys are schlock. If you think tow truck drivers are bad, you got to meet pilot cars. I think that the personalities are that, one, they're all ex-criminals, and two, they have no social skills and belong in a car by themselves. But
actually,
what they'll do is, if they sign up on the site, and they'll put in their phone number and a little bit about their company, and then there's the opportunity to put in web links, social media links, and all of this. And if they don't, they're bait for me. I just call them up and I go, hey, thanks for adding yourself to the site, but you didn't put your website in. And they'll tell me that
I don't have one.
Exactly. So it's an easy one. I mean, and I can keep a prefab.
Love these baby seals. Bam, bam, bam.
And for that, I just keep a prefab website ready, and I just change out the name on it really quick and show it to them. And so they can see that I've already got a site built for them. And it's just, do you want to buy this or not? So yeah, it's little side money.
Yeah, but it's just smart. Again, obscure niche. You brought value first. So, hey, I got this directory. I mean, guys, just so everyone understands, citations, everyone's always pissed at the citation companies for calling when you add a citation to their site. They're playing the same game JR is playing, right? You just made your own directory. And in all reality, it's pretty easy to make a directory. You can make it on Weebly if you really wanted to. You can make it on a WordPress site if you wanted to. They're not incredibly difficult. You don't have to overthink it. But again, just like the Eugene review strategy, it's like value first before, and you don't have a site, or you don't know how to do leads, or it's the same thing. It's a conversation starter rather than just going in cold, like so many of us. That's the only thing we can come up with. Any other? I mean, I got referrals. We got hiring your local vendors when you got something to do around your house or your rental. One other thing you told me was how you niche down, and you're the expert specifically in these niches. And then I think we should just talk a little bit more about that, because that has came up several times on these interviews of guys going, or gals going, I tell people I'm the expert in this place, and I use other projects that I have to back up and make me the credible source. Talk about that a little bit, how that's helped you land a lot of these deals.
Yeah, one of the things that I've done is, especially in one of my obscure niches, my first client was a call to me. The guy got a hold of me from Austin, Texas, and was like just desperate because he'd spent $5,000 on his website. He was spending $1,500 a month on SEO, and he was getting 2 to 3 leads per month total. And so, he came to me and I saw everything wrong and said, all right, I'll take over this website. And what I cut with him was kind of weird, because I said, I want you to turn over ownership of your domain name to me. That's my security for doing this for you. So I basically took his site and turned it into a lead gen site. Mm. So it was a bold move, but he was desperate. So he said, yeah, done. So he transferred the domain to me, and I rebuilt his whole site. And but by the time I was done and I got him ranking, it took about 90 days to get him to the top, and I got him very solidly to the top in his niche. And he called me back and he said, okay, he said, I got to tell you, someday I will be able to retire because of what you did for me. And so I knew that I had a good niche, and I knew that I had a good value for the industry. And so at that point I said, I'm the expert. I'm the expert in marketing that industry. So one of the things that I did, and this was something I learned at Reload last year, was to make an agency site that was specific to the industry.
Right.
So my agency site specific to the industry is a one-page site. It's just a Weebly site, and it's got my name, my phone number, my backstory about what I did for him, and it's all thrown down there with a form on it so that people can, fill out the form to contact me, and that's where I'm getting business from around the globe now for that. And so when I'm on phone calls with people, even batch calling, when I proclaim that I'm the expert, I say, look, if you want me to send you data, I'll send you an email, and I always include a link to that site so that they can see my site that proclaims me the expert.
Yeah.
And I use that to death. It works very, very well.
It's amazing when you position yourself as an expert, or have some, even if it's a site that you own that you put up that says, xyzexpert.com, or it's the expert in it, but it's amazing how people on the internet legitimately believe anything from anyone. I look at the freaking jackass in Florida that literally makes videos about me to this day, about anything he wants to say, and people are like, well, he's this guy who doesn't put his face on camera said it, so it must be true. And I'm like, although it's frustrating on one side, it's also amazing on the other side how human psychology works, that I saw it on the internet, and of course then it must be true. Maybe not everyone believes something to be true that they see on the internet, but the vast majority of people, if it's in black and white and someone spent the time putting up a site or making a video and the whole thing, they're sucked into it. I mean, we don't want to get off topic, but look at the freaking news media. Look at freaking what you see on the news every day. They're jamming bullshit down our throats day in and day out. And the sheeple of the world go, well, if it's on the news, it must be true, right? So it's from a large standpoint, it's happening. And to a very small standpoint from us as marketers who need to land clients, use it to your benefit. Use it to your benefit. Put it in writing. Make a one-page Weebly site. If you're the pool deck expert, or if you're the XYZ expert, make it. And you could be an expert of 75 different industries when you guys know what you're doing, like you do from everything we've been trained in this program. So I think those little small things that you do are huge tips, huge nuggets that people need to listen to in this, because it's sometimes, I've seen that picture of the guy digging for gold, and it's like he's dug this huge thing out and all the gold's right there, and it's this last little thing, and he turns around and he walks off, And sometimes that last little thing was you having some of this social proof to back you up. You telling your guys that you're sending leads to, that you've changed their life, to say, back me up. I'm going to give your phone number out, and I'm going to have people call you, help me out a little bit. I've helped you out. These are like those small little things that probably would have got people through before they turned around and took off the other direction. So I think people need to really listen to these nuggets that you've kind of dropped on them, because they're working for you.
Yep.
Any other words of wisdom for people?
I think the biggest thing is back to how we started the conversation. I believe in lead gen. I believe in it way more than SEO for the long term. So I think that if you don't constantly make lead gen properties, you're wasting your time. Like I said yesterday, I broke my 20th rental out there just this last week, and I already have 9 more that are on the drawing board, where the URL is bought, where we're working on the copywriting, and we're working on gathering the pictures so we can launch 9 more. And I'm not going to stop. I mean, my goal is to have $250,000 a year coming in just on lead gens.
Yeah.
And that way I never care about the SEO. And again, it's back to that security thing, because just like my batch calling to find people, if I lose a lead gen site, and I've had this happen, and for some reason it's happened in Sacramento to me 3 times, where I've signed a vendor up to take my leads and they never cut me a check. But because I do batch calling, I mean, I warned a guy. And I had it happen in Las Vegas with a site too. And the guy in Las Vegas, he calls me up and he says, well, we're looking at it and thinking you're charging us about double what we should be paying. So we want to pay you half of what you're saying per month. And I was like, I know how many leads you're getting. And so I said, look, you got 10 minutes to change your mind, because I'm going straight to your competitors. I'm going to sell it to one of your competitors for more than you're paying now. And the guy goes, that's not going to happen. And we got off the phone, and I pulled out my batch list. I started calling his competitors, and the 3rd guy was willing to pay me more than he was paying me. And so I got a credit card.
Did you use the story, I've been working with your competitor X, Y, and Z?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think that's a nugget that people need to people need to know, because I know as a business owner myself, and I've worked with a lot of business owners, both on the lead gen side and the consulting side. And I see the emails come through getting pitched by other companies. Hey, I'm working with X, Y, and Z on X, Y, and Z. And they'll come to me and say, Dan, do we want to pick this up because they're working with our competitor? And so there's that internal competitiveness among people in the same industry, especially in the same town. And you don't want to be dethroned as top dog if you're in that space, or you don't want your competitor ever taking business from you. You want it all. And it is a dog eat dog. It's competitive. It's cutthroat. And so when you drop that knowledge on them, like, hey, I've been serving your other client for quite a long time, or the past several months, and I'm just not really getting along and vibing with them anymore, and I'm looking to take my business elsewhere. Number one, what a positioning play. You're the control, not them. Okay. They already know you already have their client as a client. I mean, their competitor as a client. So they are, in a sense, they feel like they're stealing you away. And so it's a totally different authority role than if you call begging for business, Right. So I think mentioning that you work with X, Y, and Z company is huge. I know when I took my taxi company I was working with a smaller company, and I went, as this company was still paying me, I wanted more money. I wasn't getting paid enough for this property I created. It was doing like 2,000 phone calls a month. And so I went to the top dogs in town because I know they have all the money. And I said, listen, I've been working with competitor XYZ, and I'm being severely, I'm not getting what this is worth. I'm generating over 2,000 phone calls a month, and this is what I'm looking for. And I went from $500 to $3,200. Okay, that was the ask. And they said, done. And that was it. I just told these guys, hey guys, I'm going a different direction. I switched the phone number, went to these guys, and they've been paying me ever since. But all they needed to hear was 2,000 phone calls are going to your competitor. Here's the data to back it up. And that was it. They're like, yep, signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yep. Exactly.
So, one thing I will kind of mention too, and I think you'll probably agree with me, if you have a paying client and you don't feel like you're getting enough from that paying client, keep the client paying and then use this strategy to pit them against each other and say, like, but don't fire this client before replacing the client too. Like I've done that and messed myself up there, So
yeah.
Any other things you could think of from prospecting standpoint?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't blast emails. I don't, we've had conversations on JK recently about that. And I'm just not into it because I get so many of them.
Yeah.
Even this morning, I was sending somebody a nasty gram back about proclaiming that they could get me to the #1 spot in Google. It's like, go get a job, buddy.
Yeah.
You don't belong in this business if that's the way you're going to do it. So
yeah.
I emphasize that I don't send emails. If I do send emails, they're always follow-up emails. It's like, we had a conversation and here's the things you need to know. And at that point, I do the video, what do you call them? The webcasts.
Yeah, screencasts.
Screencasts. I'll do a screencast to somebody that I've had a conversation with and they're on the fence and they aren't going with me. I'll do a screencast for them, but I don't start out by saying, hey, I'm going to send you a, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I don't start with a, hello, I'm Joe, SEO guy, and I want to send you a screencast. Would you watch it? I don't do that ever.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. Everyone's got their kind of comfort zones. And so it's interesting, it's actually really cool because like a lot of the other interviews, some of them did mass email. Like that's all they do. And one guy was doing 50K a month and he's just like, so it's really cool to kind of, I think this whole entire like training series will really give people all these different options to kind of try different stuff and get into their zone where they can flow. But I think the main thing is you gotta wake up and work every day if you want this thing to grow. And I do think that you're poised with the positioning of owning your properties better than even people that might be making more money than you right now for the long game.
Right.
And I can't stress that enough because I've been doing this for long enough to know how much those assets can be worth 8-9 years from now.
Right.
And when you're only doing service work for businesses, you can get your freaking head cut off tomorrow and you just gave them all your time, your knowledge, your expertise, and they get to ride that for a long period of time and you get no money for it. So I think I think people really need to take note of that side of the business. The other thing that I think is going to be coming down the pike in this year, at least I'm going to start switching things up for some of my stuff is, we talk about lead gen and you have all these 20 lead gen properties. If you look at like Uber as an example, Uber doesn't give leads, Uber gives buyers. Okay. And I think there's going to be a shift, in the lead gen space where guys like you and me who own several lead gen properties in different industries, we moved from lead generator to actually buyer generator, and we control the whole entire process all the way through with the call center. And we all of a sudden, like the mafia, become a little bit more pushy about who, we can basically call the shots, and these businesses that you're making an extra 300 grand a year from, that you did it, you should be making 150 grand of that. And now that client's worth 100, or now that lead gen site's worth 150K a year instead of 15K a year.
Right.
And I see that as the next growth in what I'm gonna do. But you can only do it as if you're in full control of all these lead gen properties, because you could switch that on a dime and say, no, all leads come to me now in my call center, and we are going to vet buyers. We're going to be kind to them on the phone. We're going to be over the top, and we're going to control the entire process, and we're going to give buyers out to business owners, but we're taking 50%. We're taking a mafia cut for doing it, because we're the most important people in the room at that point.
Sure.
And I think that's a big point where I'm going.
Yeah, and I can see that working really well. In 2 industries right now I'm looking at, like my window tint guy drives me crazy. I could easily have more than one window tint guy working for me and just call him up and say, okay, I'm cutting you a check for $120 and you're going to tint this car.
Yep.
And I could do that. I also have a case where I have a carpet cleaner that is horrible on the phone. And I think I could sell his services better than he sells his services, because he always comes across like a grump on the phone.
Yep.
And so what if I'm sitting there telling the people what my price is going to be, and then I tell him what I'm paying him, and I just, put it on.
And then you get rid of the entire thing and you put it into a call center and let them do it. They're scripted, train them, it's done. Like yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, but I got a lead that came through on my my pool cleaning site. I took it. I signed the lady up for $80 a month, recurring revenue for her to go out there and do hot tub cleaning. But I was nice. I was friendly. I got her a price right there on the phone, and I took care of her needs. And then I gave it off to the guy. And so I delivered a buyer to her, or to him, excuse me. And so when you can deliver buyers, you can take equity in people's companies, or you own the company and they work for you. And
Absolutely.
It's the difference of one lead gen site making you, like I said, $1,500 a month or 15 grand a month. And then you don't really need to have too many lead gen properties, because you basically are quarterbacking the entire thing. And that's going to be a shift in this space at some point. I know I'm going that direction hard.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And one last thing on lead gens is you never know what's going to happen. And I have a really weird example, because it was in a niche that I didn't want to get into. And I looked at it and did it because it was one of my referrals. And that was horse boarding. And this woman had a messed up site. It really needed to be fixed. I didn't look at it as being a big dollar site for me, and neither did she. I mean, she wasn't going to pay much at all. We settled on $200 a month.
How much?
$200.
Huh.
And I rebuilt her site. So I wasn't real thrilled with the site anyway, because of the fact that, I wasn't going to make big money long term. But I knew that the leads were coming in and the site looked gorgeous. And so it was a good fix for her. And she paid me for a couple of months, and then she called me and she says, I got a major problem. She goes, your website sold my business. And I was like, what? She says, yeah. She says, these people approach me and they want to buy my business because of your website. So I have to include that website in the purchase price of my business. And I was looking at it going, well, I'm not making that much off this one anyway. So I didn't know where to go with it. But I said, it's a lead gen property for me that you're talking about. And so this thing's going to have money for me for years and years and years, even if it's not for you. So I don't know if I would really want to sell it. And she says, if I made you a cash offer today? And I said, well, hit me. I said, tell me how much you would give me, and I'll tell you if I would take your money today. And she goes, I'll give you $5,000 if you'll take it right now. And I was like, done. I had less than a day's worth of work into this, and maybe 2 or 3 more days of SEO work on it. That was it. And I sold it for $5,000.
Same thing, exact same thing with my lead gen property for my limo company. It did the same thing. Like, that was a big part of the deal was, yeah, we'll buy the limo for way more than we should be, because we wanted that. That's generating all the phone calls. And so that's why I'm just trying to stress this so much, so people will go down this path a little bit more and trust in owning some of these projects or these properties themselves, instead of like always being on the tit of a business owner that could cut you at any time. Stay in control. You're the most important person in the room. I think we can look at that. So, hey, man, we're going to see you in Vegas in what, 2 days? You gonna be out there?
A couple days.
Awesome, man. Well, I look forward to seeing you. I'm going to go. I got to figure out what I'm going to say still. So I got it.
All right.
Just got to take a couple more notes. But thanks for jumping on with me today. I look forward to seeing you this weekend.
All right, Dan. See you soon.
All right, that's it. All right, guys, what's up? I got Chance on the line here. And
what up?
We're going to talk some prospecting for the Limitless prospecting product that you guys all have access to here. The goal, obviously, as you know, I'm going to reiterate it on every one of these interviews, is I want to get different points of view, different walks of life, just for people that are killing it in this business model, whether they do lead gen only or SEO or a mix, but basically how they're getting their clients, things that have worked, things that haven't worked for them specifically. And so you can start tying together the things that for your personality or for your, way about going about your business, things that you might be missing that I haven't told you, or things that maybe they can open my eyes to. That's the goal for all of these interviews. So take notes. Chance, how long have you been in the program?
I think coming up in August will be 2 years, I want to say.
Talk to me about when you first joined, just real quickly, briefly, like where were you at, like financially? Because I kind of remember you weren't in the best of places.
No, I mean, I had I think maybe $800 in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I was pretty much begging you to let me into the program, and I'd figure it out and, make the next payment from there.
Yeah.
I was just living in a little hut pretty much with my girlfriend in Topanga Canyon. And I was just hungry and was just ready for it. And I remember saying, I was like, man, this is another one of those opportunities. And you're like, no, man, this is like a freaking hustle system. If you, put the hustle muscle on, you're going to make the big money. And I was like, all right, well, that's what I needed to hear. And so I, jumped in and hit it hard from day one, and we're still growing and expanding. And it's just really freaking exciting.
Gross sales last month?
Gross sales, we did just under 50K. It was like 49.8 or something like that, I want to say.
All right, perfect. So this is why I have Chance on. As I tell you guys always, anyone that I bring on an interview, I vet. I go through and make sure they're not full of shit. There's a lot of people that are no longer in JK that would post checks that they went and got printed at their bank themselves and blur out the names, and they've started other groups and they're completely full of it. This is a guy that's not full of it. I went through his stuff. I know he's legit. We've spoken at length. Actually, we took about a year off. You've been in music school for the last year. I interviewed you like a year ago. I think you're about 19K a month at that point.
Yeah.
And you went to music school, so you took on more responsibility, yet your company is almost doubled in size on monthly rev. I want to talk about the things that you're doing to do that, so we can pass this along to the students who aspire to, be where you're at in the next year or two. So kind of talk to me about, obviously, prospecting. Without prospects, without new sales, your business doesn't grow at the level that it's grown. So talk to me about how you've kind of your techniques, your top 2 or 3 techniques that you have used to grow your business, your agency.
So first and foremost is any of my, happy clients that I've done, amazing work for, I always ask them for referrals, and they've sent me a lot of business, which is huge. And I take care of them too. I'm like, if you send me a referral and they sign on, I'll take a 20% off of your monthly for that month. So, they save a couple hundred to a couple $1,000. They're really stoked. So that's definitely something to not overlook. Mm-hmm. And if you've helped them out a ton, they would love to help you out in any other way. Like I get my clients call me all the time, like, dude, I'm so stoked. Here's another client. Like, I just want to help you out as much as I can. And even a couple of them have not even accepted my 20% referral fee. They're like, no, you've blown my business up so much. Like, just take the lead. I hope that, you can make good money with them.
Nice. It's funny. So I've done 2 other interviews as of now with 2 other folks, Corey and Greg. And that's been like the lead off, I feel like, on every one, that I think many people don't understand how big a referral is. Corey's built a huge business just on referral after taking care of building relationships, treating the customers well. I want to get into some of the stuff that you're doing with your VP, because I know you've kind of built this agency up. You put a VP in place and you've incentivized them to be over the top in taking care of your clients from a retention standpoint and making sure that they're happy with what you guys are bringing to them. Talk about that a little bit, because I think people sometimes in the SEO space, they sign the client, they get them, and then it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to go sign another client, and they almost forget about this person. But this one client, it could take one good client and you just blowing up their business that could lead you to 50 other clients, one after the next after the next. So talk about the importance in your business that type of technique is had.
For sure. So it was getting super overwhelming with bringing on new clients and then managing the clients that I already had. And, I had a few clients fall off, not because we weren't doing work, but because I wasn't giving them weekly reports. I wasn't, touching base with them. I wasn't sending them gift cards. I wasn't sending them thank you cards on holidays. Like, all of these things go so far with your clients. It's huge. Even if you send them like a little, $20 Amazon card on their birthday, they like freak out. It's like amazing, because a lot of their own family members forgot to do that. And then you do that, and it's like you become their best friend.
Yep.
So I brought on a sales guy just to see what he could do. I said, hey, I'll pay you 20% on closing. and I'll pay you 10% residual for the first 3 months. If you keep them on, keep them happy. That second 3 months when they move up in there, because we bring them people on and do a performance basis. So every 3 months, their price is increasing because now they're getting more results as the site is ranking. And then these other, lead gen strategies are starting to add up. And then the second 3 months is 15% residual. And then from 6 months on, he's getting 20% residual. So, on a $10,000 client, he's making $2,000 a month residual. He's pumped, and I'm paying him extremely well to make sure that these clients are happy. And so that is like the biggest thing, because if you're dropping off clients, you're never going to scale.
Nope.
Like we work our asses off to get them on board. And then if you're not keeping them, it's like, you're never going to grow. So that's huge. So put somebody in place for client relations, like straight up. And if you can, connect them in a performance-based structure, that would be highly recommended, because I'm not paying out of pocket for him. Like, you're performing extremely well, so I'm going to pay extremely well. You don't perform, you don't get paid.
You're paying him with the money that's coming in because he's retaining the client that you guys work so hard to get. And if
Exactly.
it falls off, his money falls off. So it's an incentive-based, position, which, for many people, they don't understand. They think, because a lot of people come from jobs, right? And they get paid to show up. Like, I'm going to show up to work and I get paid regardless. And like, I hired a couple guys the other day and they came to do work at my house and they knew they were getting paid. And I'm freaking busting my ass lifting shit out of a truck. And, they're sitting in there taking a break because they know they're on the clock. They're getting paid. Don't be that type of person in your business. Don't let people work you for money. Be willing to create incentives for them so they can grow and they can make money as they retain your clients or bring you on new clients. I think it's definitely a great thing to do in a business to keep it to growing and keep people motivated. So let's rewind a little bit, because referrals is like everyone's kind of go-to, but you got to have a client to get a referral, or you kind of have to have a client. You can get referrals through other ways without having a client, but what are some strategies to get a first client that you would suggest to maybe someone that's watching this that hasn't got their first client yet?
So, I mean, it's all about, fake it till you make it, really. Like, make yourself look bigger than you are. And so I know, in the beginning, we try to go out and just take on any client. But really, if you become the expert in your niche, it's going to really leverage you. So if you say, hey, I'm the HVAC marketing guy, this is what I do, then, that's going to take you a little bit further. And what I would do to bring on clients, I was just reading this blog that Tim Ferriss put out a few months back that was talking about how you can change your career at any point in your life. You just have to build a portfolio. So how do you do that quickly? And what he talks about is go find people that you can work for free, and in exchange, you get a referral. So go out, go to your local chamber of commerce meetings, reach out to your friends and family, say, hey, listen, I want to do this for you. I want to do it for free. I'm trying to build my portfolio. You pay for what it actually costs me to do it. But the 20 hours a month I'm going to put into it, or, however much that's going to be, let them know you're going to do that for free. And you have a whole team of experts and entrepreneurs that you work with that will back you up to make sure that you are successful.
Dude, that's great advice from Mr. Jim Ferriss.
Jim Ferriss.
Oh, Jim. It's Tim's half brother that no one knows about. He does the 8-hour work week. No one even knows. No. Dude, that's great advice. Just because, it's every day I deal with this, with questions coming at me. I got to get my first client. And you know what? You're right. Dude, you could go out right now with the skills that you have in JK. You could pick 4 or 5 businesses and you could go work for them for free and say, listen, you could go post on Craigslist right now and say, hey, I'm looking to build my portfolio, or post this on Facebook. I'm looking to build my portfolio of XYZ types of clients, and I'm going to intern and work for free. Businesses would throw themselves at you to do that. And then those people, guess what? They know other businesses. And guess what? You're going to ask them, hey, who could you lead me to? Who could you walk me through the door? All of a sudden, you got 4 or 5 case studies of people that you've taken your knowledge. The reason why people won't do this is because we're so right now, we have to have money right this minute, right? And we got to get it today because I'm broke. I need my money. And the problem is they're not willing to go through the bullshit to get to the goal, right? They're not willing to dig and do some free work for people. Man, I did free work all the time, and I'll do it to this day. Even I've landed clients where I say, listen, you don't pay me until I prove my worth to you, right? And I'll go to work for free for them, and I'll do that because I know what I'm doing. I know I'm going to bring them the results, and B, sometimes that's what it takes in order to get a client. So I think that's super, super wise advice: is go and offer your services up for free to build your case studies and your portfolio, so then you can showcase those things. Get those business owners on an interview like this and say, hey, and walk them through some questions, show off the results you got for them. Dude, fantastic advice. Thank you, Jim. So, okay. So what else? What's some other go-to stuff that you're doing right now that maybe isn't what everyone's talking about? What are some other things you're doing?
So, just to keep rolling with like the be niche specific, right? So, building a portfolio and then just becoming an expert in, 1 to 2 niches. I know when you're starting out, you're just going to take on any business and that's fine, but find what you are good at and what you enjoy doing, those business owners that you enjoy working with, whether that's the restaurant industry, whether that's, dentist, whatever that may be.
Right.
Hone in on that and become an expert in that field. Know their lingo, know what type of cases they want to bring on, know like these little niche things, because there's so much gold in speaking their language. Because if you know all the terminology that they know and know about their business, they're going to be more inclined to listen to you. So what I do is, I have my sales guy and he's got all of his VPs that are pulling emails, right? So we'll go into one marketplace.
VAs.
Well, my VP is
VA.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
It's like the inception of the VAs.
Yes.
And so, so he's got a team of, I believe there's 3 or 4 of them now, but they'll choose a market. So let's just say Houston, for example. They'll go into Houston. They'll find every single HVAC email that they could possibly find, pull it together. Usually they can pull a couple hundred. Sometimes the bigger markets, we even get up to like 500 emails for that one market. So, they'll go pages and pages and pages, and they get like personal. Like they're not going to find the first email on that website, right? They're going to find the business owner on his LinkedIn account. They're going to find him on his Facebook. They're going to find him wherever he's at and get his email. And those are the emails we want. We're also paying our VAs bonuses for better emails. So the more money you're giving out for quality, for your leads, for your emails, for your people, the better results you're going to get in the long term.
Right.
So that's how we have it structured with everybody in our business. It's all performance based. So the better you perform, the better you're going to get paid, because in the end, the better and faster the business is going to grow. So once we put all those together, then we create a market video where we are the experts for that market, right? So we'll go in and just create a video for Houston HVAC, for example, and we'll talk about what the top leader's doing, how much money he's spending AdWords, what he can be experiencing from that amount of ad spend, what he can be experiencing from being ranked on top. Because we look at it and see about how much market share they have. Let's say they're getting 1,000 visitors per month, right? Let's say on the low end, 5% of them are actually calling or filling out a contact form. And then let's say you're only closing, 5% of that. So we really kind of break this down where we can give them realistic numbers about what they can be expecting from our results. And then we also give them a time frame. So, we say, hey, Mr. HVAC, let's say, you're only converting 5% of that, right? Let's say you're only getting 10, sales jobs each month for HVAC. That can be 10 grand a pop, right? Mm-hmm. So even if even if it takes 6, 8, 9, 12 months for them to get to, the top 4 to 3 positions where they're going to start converting and they make no money, right? Year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, on the low end, that site could be bringing you anywhere from 50 to 100 grand a month. So if you're paying me a couple grand a month to deliver these results, eventually when they come out, is that going to be worth it to you? So just really breaking it down, because a lot of these guys, you have to understand, they know Google is powerful, but they don't understand what that means to them as far as money in their pocket. So the more you can break down everything you're doing to an actual dollar amount that they'll be making for what they're spending, that's when we have closed a large percentage of our business. And that's where we get a lot of business owners contacting us, because we show them so much value and break it down to SEO for dummies, essentially.
Is this in the form of a video? Screencast?
Yeah. This is all screencast. Okay. And so we do a general market one first, which just talks about the leader in the area. And then for any of those people that open the email and watch the video, then we go through, and on all those people, we make a personalized video about their own business.
Now, are you doing this, or is your sales guy doing this?
My sales guy is managing it, and our assistants and him are making videos depending on how many open rates we have and what, because we want to keep it consistent, because he's also going to be getting on the phone with them. So if he's making them the video, I want him getting on the phone so it's consistent the whole time. Sure. We see that we're, spending so much personal time and energy on them specifically. We don't have a team of 500 salespeople that are just crapping out these videos.
For sure.
It's like we've taken 3 3 hours, even up to a day to research a market, to make the right video, to give them enough value, and then also do a follow-up video on their own business as well.
Okay, so let me understand this correct so everyone who's watching can track. We go into Houston. We're going to be an expert in HVAC, for example.
Mm-hmm.
We spend 3 hours to a day, in some cases, researching the marketplace, understanding the marketplace, becoming an expert of the marketplace, knowing every player in the game. Okay, so we're going to spend that time. Then we're going to create almost a generic market video, screencast style, about HVAC and I guess the nature of the market, like the leaders, the everything. Correct? This is a generic video. It's not speaking to you, Joe's HVAC yet. It's just completely generic. Right. This generic video gets put in an email that you've mined through your VAs.
Yep.
This gets sent out to 100, 200, 500 businesses. Is there copy in the email? Is there a subject line that works best? Anything specifically that you could pass along?
Well, that's where you have to test it out, right? So it took us, almost a year to really fine tune this process.
Okay.
You have to have subject lines that open, right? So make sure you're using, so we use Salesforce, and so it tracks like everything. And we can see, what subject lines are performing well, what the open rate is. If they're not opening your emails, it doesn't matter what's in the email, right?
Sure.
So do a few split tests, see what is actually getting them to open it. We've used 100 different ideas, but really just hitting on pain points, whatever those pain points can be. It's like, oh, why is Joe HVAC scraping up all the cash and you're fighting over the crumbs? Or, just like clever things like that really just talk about kind of how their business sucks and how the other guy's winning and how we can do that same exact thing.
Sure.
And then we show them their exact blueprint. Hey, this is why Joe's making millions of dollars, and this is why, you're still working a part-time job at fucking McDonald's. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like, this is why. And then we just break it all down for them, show them exactly their backlinking strategy, show them how many citations they have.
But that's secondary after they respond, correct?
That would be the subject line for them to open, right? And then that's where just the video is like, hey, this is only going to take a few minutes to show you how you can make a few $1 million or something kind of along those lines.
How long do you try to keep your generic market screencast to?
Wait, sorry, say that again?
How long do you try to keep your generic, like the first screencast that's going to go to everyone about the market that you research for 3 hours to a day? How long is that video?
We kind of experimented back and forth with a few different ones, but we actually found that, if we were taking our time and really diving in and giving them like a 10-minute video, the people that actually started the video were showing them so much value up front and grabbing their attention from the second that these screencasts aren't dull. Like these are like, boom, to the point, money, this is how much money you're going to make, and show them the value first and then break down how we're going to deliver that value. So the first one's about 10 minutes. And then when we do the second one, which is a breakdown on their actual business,
right?
That one sometimes can be 15 to 20 minutes because we're like really going in depth and really showing them all their weaknesses. And we even show them how to fix it. Like, hey, here's all your on-site issues. This is how you can fix it. You have broken links here. You have duplicate meta tags. You have all this stuff going on. This is how you can fix it. And then they're just so overwhelmed with all the information. Once they watch that, usually they call us. Like it's not even an email back. Like we don't ever reach out to them to call them or anything. We wait for them to contact us.
Awesome. Okay. So we go from VAs mine emails. Emails get in-depth strategy or in-depth videos made about the marketplace, about 10 minutes in length. The people that open those emails and respond to your email, what's the call to action? Is there a call to action you guys have at the end of the email or at the end of the video, of the first video?
So they can, respond directly to my VP, or we have a call scheduling software that we use where they can literally just click and schedule a call.
How many people do that actually? Decent percentage?
Well, we just launched that a little while ago. We've only had a couple of people do that, but for the most part, as soon as we've had a lot of people that have watched the video like halfway through and then they call us to ask us questions about the video.
So you have your phone number placed somewhere in that email as well for a contact.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, and so these are the small things, the small details that get lost or forgotten. And sometimes, those small details can add up to big money. So, okay, so we go VA, we go research, we get 10-minute video, we have a way for them to schedule, we have a way for them to call right away. And then let's say they make a call into you guys, then where does it go from there? Hey, it's Joe. I got your email. I watched it. I'm interested. What's that next process? How's it go?
Well, usually a lot of them say, what's the price? And we say, hey, we're not a generic plug and play SEO company or lead gen company. Anyone that gives you a price right out of the gate is full of shit.
Yep.
Because they don't, we don't know what your needs are. We don't know, are you trying to do service-based calls? Are you trying to do installation-based calls? Where are your demographics? Are there richer parts of town, poorer parts of town? Where do you want to go? All of those things, we need these answers in order to give them an accurate price.
Sure.
So we never talk pricing until the very end, until they're so freaking excited. They're just like super giddy and want to get moving forward. Then at that point, and only at that point, will they get the pricing. And then we break that down for them of why they're spending that amount of money, what results they can be expecting to get. This is where being an expert in your niche really comes in handy, because if you know how much money they're going to be spending in paid traffic and how much ROI they're going to get from that based on the information that you've gathered, that is where you can, back up your pricing and why you charge what you do. So that's huge. And so then, if they call, then that's usually when we, and we're never pushy about sales whatsoever. Like, we're very organic about this whole process, to where, if they call, they just want to get to know us. We talk, hey, talk about your business, what's going on, where, how are you generating leads?
All right, sorry about that. We froze up for a second. You were right in the middle of talking about the organic process of just like letting them kind of like get to know you guys, not pushy from a sales standpoint. Keep freezing up. I think we're good.
I think we're good now. So yeah, it's all organic. We never come across pushy or salesy. We just provide them so much information and so much value, and really get the pricing and like just get moving forward. So answering all the questions that they have, again, being an expert in that industry is where you start closing the business, because they start asking you like very specific questions about certain issues. Closing that client, because so many SEO companies will take on everybody, and then they start asking individual questions about certain things, and like they just can't answer them because they don't know. So that's huge.
Yeah, let me ask you this: would you be willing? I'm putting you on the spot here, but would you be willing to share one of the? I think you were freezing up quite a bit here. I think your Wi-Fi might be a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm at the office. It should be fine.
Okay. All I was asking was if you'd be willing to share like one of those market research videos from one of your old campaigns or something like that, so people could kind of see how you did that, because I think that's really cool.
The market video and how to do that, and the tools that we use. We use SEMrush is huge. I know you guys have both kind of talked about that tool. SpyFu is amazing. And then we use My Site Auditor to really break down their on-site. And we happy to share one of those videos.
Awesome. Sorry, I don't know. We just keep freezing up back and forth. It's tough to follow, but that's awesome. So we'll put some of those videos underneath this video. We'll put one or two examples so people can kind of see it. And obviously, you're not Chance, and you're not me, and you're not Corey, and you're not Amy. It's like you got to put your own spin on things. But listen, success leaves clues. You've heard everyone we've interviewed say they ask for referrals. Greg, when I interviewed Greg last, he was doing a lot of email marketing, and it wasn't working out for him. But then you talk to another person, and it is working for them. And so sometimes it's just tweaking things. Like, it could be the subject line. It could be how in depth you're going in that marketplace, which is what's vibing with people, because they feel that it's so authentic. It's not just boilerplated. It's like all about them. And I think all these things are really important to take in from a prospecting standpoint. Talk to me about, you're doing some other prospecting stuff, which I thought was a little bit outside the realms of anything that I've ever taught or done personally. And that was in the form of, I think, LinkedIn. You're doing some LinkedIn stuff now. Talk a little bit about that.
So again, yeah, that's what I was talking about is, I'm keeping this consistent theme of being the expert in your niche. So that's what I did over the last 6 months, is just really narrowed it down to one. And then I'm now working on all my branding and marketing outreach, all based on being the expert in my niche. So on LinkedIn, it works very similar to SEO, where by the way you build your profile, people can be searching, marketing for HVAC companies, and you can pop up in those search results based on how strong your LinkedIn account is. And LinkedIn is all B2B. It's all business to business. Everyone's looking to network and connect and help each other out. Like, I've gotten, and I've just given, tons of people free advice, and then they've come back around and have sent me a client or have asked me to look at their site. So it's all about just like giving out, free information and, having these tools set in place.
Yeah.
Where, like, I have a free site auditor tool on my website, and I tell them just to go there and they fill it out. It takes them 2 seconds. They get a ton of information. I get a ton of information about their site, and I really did nothing. And now they see that my company has put together this in-depth audit for them, which was all automated.
Sure.
So doing that, and then I also have VAs that are going through and they're just connecting with as many people as possible on LinkedIn, because you can contact your people's connections, but you can't just go out and connect with any random person, right? So the more connections you have, the more connections they have. And as you can continue connecting with those people, you can build out a massive network in a very short amount of time. And then once you're connected with them, then you can send them a direct message. So I pay for the premium LinkedIn account. I pay for Sales Navigator.
How much is that?
I think it's $150 a month. I think it's $80 a month for Sales Navigator and like $70 a month for LinkedIn Premium, I want to guess.
Worth it?
Beyond. Like, it's insane. I don't know why more and more people are not on LinkedIn. It blows my mind.
Interesting. So one thing I want to point out, just hold that thought real quick, just so people can, because you're going to get a lot of people that are going to say, A, where are you finding these VAs? You know, where are you getting these VAs from? And, or B, I don't have money. I have $800 in my pocket and I, live in Topanga Canyon with my girlfriend. So like, remember, just 2 years ago, you were that person. And
right.
If that would have came to you, you'd have been like, hey dude, I appreciate it, man. And you're awesome. But what do I do? Because I can't afford a $150 premium account and I can't afford a VA. So how do they take this LinkedIn strategy potentially and do it themselves?
Well, then you're just spending,
time.
Oh, tons of time. Like, that was the thing. It was like, I did all this myself for the first 8 months. It
That's
wasn't
what I want people to hear though.
Yeah, I wasn't freaking sleeping. Like, I didn't have a day off. There was 8 months I did not take one day off.
Yep.
I did not take one freaking day off because I was doing all this. I was my VA. I was my VP. I was my website builder. I was the whole freaking deal. You know what I mean? Like, it takes that sacrifice to really get over that first hump.
Mm-hmm.
But it's freaking worth it. Like, I've taken more vacation days this year than I have in the last freaking 3 years.
Because now you can buy people's time.
100%. And that's the thing with VAs. I mean, you can get a VA on Upwork for like $4 an hour.
Yep.
Like, go sell your TV and now you have a VA for a month.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do. I know exactly what you mean, but I'm on both sides of the fence.
Right.
I've never been down to $800, but I was out of a job with a new child and I had to get back to grind zone, sell my car. I bought a freaking cheap Cadillac, looked like a gangster riding around town, trying to sell email marketing, in my hoopty. But, I get it. Gotta make sacrifices. Your sacrifices came in the time, the area of time for 8 months, not taking a day off. But that's what people need to definitely understand and wrap their head around when if they're serious about building a business. And then if they're low on money, but big on time, put in the work, put in the effort, put in the time to do these things with these strategies, that you're hearing from all these different people that I'm interviewing. So what else? So LinkedIn, kind of walk us a little bit more through that strategy. The VAs are going out there, they're making connections, which gives you the ability to make, to send messages, to send what? Yeah. So you can then send them a direct message once they connect with you. So okay. Yeah, you can connect and then you kind of send like a warm message that says, hey, thanks for connecting. I love connecting with leaders in your industry, which you're complimenting them, right? They're leaders. They love that. And then you're saying, take advantage of my connections. I would love to make introductions. How can I help you? It's all about them. With any of this, any of the email outreach, any of the LinkedIn building, any of that, it's all about how can I help you first. That's the biggest thing. Because everybody is takers. Everybody wants, how can I help myself? So when you're kind of doing that little extra, let me scratch your back first, it really goes a long way. I mean, the same thing is true if you look at all the teachings in JK. It's all about give first, receive second. Send them the leads first, then have a conversation about potentially a way you guys can work where it's mutually beneficial. The same thing is true with what you're doing. You're not just saying, hey, me, give to me. I need your money. You're coming out, you're actually being sincere. You're actually being real. You're saying, hey, how can I help you? How can I help connect? What have you? That's big for people to hear. A lot of people don't understand that when they're first in business, that you can open a lot of doors once you have a network of people that know you, like you, trust you, because you've done something to actually assist them. And that might just come in the form of leaving them a review on their business page. Hey, I've been able to meet Jim. He's a great guy. I highly recommend working with this guy. And you leave him a review on Google or on Yelp or something like that. And that's value. You just gave them value. Many of these businesses have never got any value from anyone. and you just went, they've got 10 reviews and you're number 11. Well, they probably have thousands of clients and no one's given them reviews. So think about how that sticks out in their mind, you know, and things like that. I'm sure you have some other value things from information or site audits or whatever that you do, but just be a giver first, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's another thing too, is like based on the whole review thing. Like if a business has had tons of clients, but they haven't generated any reviews, I use a review generating software. I'll be like, hey, you know, let me build you some reviews for free for this next month and just help you with your reputation management. I literally take that, plug it into an email campaign, and within a matter of a month, he's got, you know, 10 5-star reviews. He's freaking thrilled. He's like, well, if he did that, then what else can he do? You know what I mean? So that's an easy way to add value right out of the gate, and show them that you can really help them expand.
Perfect. Any other prospecting things? So we kind of understand your email marketing strategy of being an expert in a market, having your VAs mine the hundreds and hundreds of emails, sending them a really in-depth video to then a follow-up email for the ones that respond. And then we have your LinkedIn stuff about how you go out there and you connect and bring value. And then again, moving through that pipeline of being able to potentially work with them. What else? Anything else that you're doing that's ground shattering, bringing you business?
I mean, those things are pretty much it. Which
and
is
referrals, right?
Referrals. And also too, I just got an office space at WeWork, which is a community office space.
Yep.
And I'm, you know, in this building, and there's probably 150 businesses here.
Yep.
And that's just another way to be out and about and be meeting people and helping people out, because at these things, people are giving free workshops every week about, you know, hey, this is how I can make your better business cards, and this is how I can do this, and this is how I can do that. And it's a really amazing community. So any community-oriented things you can get involved in,
right?
Be there, be seen, be visible. People still love that face-to-face business. They want to be able to shake your hand. You know, that's been a big thing for me too. These bigger clients that I'm doing business with that want to spend 30, 50K a month with me, I'm freaking flying out there, meeting them, going to dinner, like doing the whole thing just to like say, hey, like I'm here, like let's build a partnership.
Yeah.
This goes so far, because for the longest time I never met my clients. Now I'm making it an effort, even though they live across the country, to figure out how either myself or my VP can get out there and meet them and just massage that relationship, whether they're already a client or they're not.
Yeah, it's huge. That's definitely great advice. I think I know that just the few times I've been in different areas, even for JK, and just done little meetups and being able to meet the people that I've only met through Facebook or a phone call, or maybe I didn't even meet them, just that extra layer of relationship when you get to shake hands, kiss babies, go out, break some bread, have a couple drinks together. Dude, it goes a long way. You know, it goes a real long way. And, you know, one thing that I've seen, and this is from the JK side of things, but there's parallels to all business when it comes to relationship building, is many of the folks that have, I'll say, screwed me off and just like came in, jacked all our information, and then didn't go, you know, went off on their merry way and said, screw you, we're not paying for it. I look at a lot of those folks and I had no personal relationship with them. Now, I have 3,000 plus clients, right? So it's tough to have personal relationships with every person, but that's still my fault, right? To do better at making relationships, because relationships go a long ways, as you're stating. I think more people need to understand that if you massage a relationship, even if you only have one client, and you take the time to do those extra things, it could be a $5 Starbucks gift card on their birthday, or a special holiday, like you were saying, you did the Amazon $20 card.
Yeah.
That's more than, like you said, a lot of their family members have done, and that goes a long way. You know, we sent out handwritten cards for the Job Killing Vegas event to everyone that was before a certain date. We try to get all those out there, just thank yous, and you can't believe the amount of people. It's just a thank you card for coming to the event. And you couldn't imagine the amount of response we had for that. And it's just like those small things go a long way. And there's so many little thoughtful things you can do to massage relationships that really all of us need to be better at. One thing I'd advise for everyone is just make it a point every day. You know, you might only have one client, so this might be overboard for that one client, but make it a point every day to look through your clients and try to reach out and do something thoughtful for them. You know, it's not gonna be the same client every day, but you know, just do something, or if it's once a week or once a month or whatever, do something thoughtful for them. It goes so far for referrals, for customer retention, for just them just wanting to stay with you and send you business. So I think those are really good things that you just recommended. And don't forget what he just said, that idea of going into a co-workspace with all these other business owners where you can give presentations, or you can make a networking effort. Don't just be sequestered in your room like me. Be willing to get out there into other spaces where other business people are working. Anything else, man?
I mean, that's pretty much it. And really what it is sticking with it, right? So like with our email marketing thing, we did it for 4 or 5 months and really weren't getting any feedback. And, I was talking with my VP and he was getting super frustrated. He's like, dude, I'm so working at the coffee shop. Like, I'm not making any money with you. I've only landed a few clients. Like, I don't know if I can continue to do this. And I said, well, what is the disconnect, right? Because there's millions of companies out there that make millions of dollars for email marketing. Right. So what are we doing wrong? And we figured out, we're not getting a good click-through rate. Okay, well, we need to change the subject line. Okay, fix that. Okay, now moving on down. Why are more people not watching the video? Well, it's because we were sending them a screencast link and it looks spammy. So now we started uploading everything to YouTube. So now there's a YouTube channel that's attached to it and everyone trusts YouTube. Yep. So they would click through to it. Boom, our freaking view rate went through the roof. And it was just all these things of why is it not working? And we figured it out and test. And finally it was like, now we have a 50 to 70% open rate. And now out of that open rate, there's 30 to 50% of those people actually watching the video, which is insane from what we were experiencing before. And now, breaking down from that, now we're setting up, anywhere from, 5 to 10 meetings a week with clients that are calling us to speak with us.
Love it. It's interesting, man. Just like different strokes for different folks. The consistency and persistency thing keeps coming up through all these interviews. Everyone's going to find, I talked with the Greg interview, just the last one. He fell flat in his face with email marketing. It just didn't work for him. But does it mean email marketing doesn't work? Absolutely not, because you're living proof that your way of going about it and the consistency of sticking with it is working, right? So it's like all these little nuggets of knowledge, man. This is why I'm so glad we're putting this product together, because I think people need to see, like I'll get the messages like, I've been doing screencasts I've done 400 of them and I haven't got one person to bite. And it's like, dude, you just gave a little nugget. Well, maybe you're sending the screencast link and you need to send them over to the YouTube channel instead for the triangle of trust of a third party that they know the name of. And that changes everything because now they don't think it's spammy. Sometimes, and you said this before we even got on, you're like, dude, it could just be your subject line sucks and you need to test it a couple different times. Or it could be the link, or it could be, one little thing that you got to be willing to stick with it and make the tweaks in order to get the result.
Exactly. And that was the thing too, is like a double-edged sword. Now that we're posting all these videos to YouTube, about these different marketplaces and how to make money, we've been getting leads to our YouTube channel because now we went through, made that YouTube for that client, but then put it up. So now people are watching that. Now we got, a couple hundred to a couple thousand views on some of our videos. Yep. And now people are coming through those chains. So you're nailing 2 birds with 1 stone. So just the whole thing is like thinking about what is it that's not working? How do you fix it? How do I make it better? How do these efforts multiply to where they can be adding value in other areas? And when you start to figure those things out, that's when you start to see your business explode.
Awesome, man. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, underneath this video, I'm going to include a link and I'll put we'll create like another little page just so we can maybe show like how you do your screencast video. I think people would love to see that. And then that way they can kind of check some of that stuff out. If you'd be kind enough to show us 1 or 2 of those, that'd be
sure.
Awesome. So I'll put a link on this video if you want to check out that. We'll build kind of a separate page outside of this training for that. Really appreciate you getting on and spending an hour or so with us and kind of taking back the curtain to your business. Look forward to seeing you in Vegas next week. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's it, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you in about a week.
All right. Sounds good, Dan. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. All right. We're live here. So guys, obviously I got Corey Long on today. Limitless prospecting is kind of designed for you guys because I understand that not everyone is me and not everyone's going to do things the way I do things. And so my goal for this product presentation, interview is basically to get in front of other successful students that have taken the skill sets that you guys have all learned and maybe went at them at a different way, or maybe taken little splinters of things that we've taught and made them their own. And so I'm putting Corey on today so you guys can watch this interview and take some of the nuggets that he's going to give you. But I've also compiled a list of questions that you guys asked us in the Facebook group to ask the people we're interviewing. But kind of, Corey, before we get started, we were talking a little bit before about how they're not me and they're not you, and training people. And I just want you to kind of speak on that to kick us off, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Yeah, man, I think the biggest thing that I've seen, especially teaching in the boot camp, is everybody's got their own personality and their own way that they need to do things. And I'm seeing guys that are super aggressive. They're willing to walk in the door of somebody that they don't even know and go in and talk to them. And we have other people in our boot camp that are like crazy scared to even get on live on Facebook and are struggling. But there's always a way to figure out how to sell. And I think that's what's great about doing this is somebody, it might trigger in their head, hey, we can do it this way or that way or whatever, and still be able to sell, still be able to prospect, still be able to grow their business without a problem. But everybody needs to do it differently. You and I have much different ways of selling, but we both have success with it. And I think that's the key, is to know that you've got to fit your personality into that somehow. It can't be just, well, I've got to do it this way or I've got to do it that way. Because in the end, we all have to, I mean, they buy from us, they buy from you, they buy from me. It's all about buying from somebody, right? So if I can develop a relationship, I'm going to be able to sell a whole lot better and a whole lot more and close a whole lot more than if I'm just focused on some kind of sales technique or whatever. Totally. So I just think it's important to have that for sure.
Okay. So there's a big, and this is true for, I think, a lot of people. So a lot of people that have never been entrepreneurs or never ran their own business or had to quote unquote sell something or whatnot. I think there's a big differentiation that needs to be made between prospecting and sales, because they're two completely different things. And I'll be honest with you. I'm not great at prospecting per se. I'm okay at it. I'm better at the sales end of it. I've taken way more reps in the sales end because of the industry I came from, where they did all the prospecting for us, quote unquote advertising. They would spend 50, 60 grand a month. The customers would come in and it was just me. I just have to go show them around and ask for the order. And so I think there's, in some of these questions, there are some sales questions, but my focus for this is prospecting, because if you don't have a prospect, you don't have someone to sell, right?
That's exactly right.
And so what I want to do is kind of rewind you 2 or 3 years and kind of think through all the different ways that you've went about getting in front of clients to then make a presentation and ask for an order. And I want to kind of, I don't know, go through your top 2 or 3 things that you do that you would like to pass on that might click in someone's brain. I know you teach some of this stuff in your boot camp, but I think that we can give some of this stuff away in this, because I think it could be really helpful to some people to kind of unlock those doors.
Sure.
So what would you say your top 2 or 3 prospecting techniques have been in the last 2 or 3 years that you pass on?
I think one of the things that we started, and I just did it naturally when we kind of got into the JK stuff, and you guys used to talk about it all the time, how I would post often on social media. And I've talked to you about this before. I've had more clients probably come from my social media posting than anything else that I do. Now, I've also had a really wide range of jobs and friends doing ministry work and all that. So we've been a lot of places. We know a lot of people. But I only have I think when we started this, I had maybe 1,000, 1,200 friends on my friends list. But through that social media posting and just kind of posting about things that I was doing, types of accounts I was working with, maybe success I was having, whatever it may be, it got people asking questions to me, which opened that door. So that probably was the initial way that I kind of got the word out, is through social media initially. And then probably the second way that kind of has really kind of spurred our business on, I talked about this earlier, I love referrals, because I would much rather go into a warm conversation with somebody that somebody's already said, hey, Corey's really good at this, da-da-da-da-da. I love having people out there selling for me. So I want those fans. I want those fans that are like, they're excited about what I'm doing for them, which means they're telling everybody else. And so we do a lot of things in our business to make sure that happens. But when I first started out, I would ask anybody if they knew any kind of business owner, and I would be very specific. And I think that's where people mess up, is they ask generically, hey, do you know a business owner, da-da-da-da? Be specific. Like if you want to go after an orthodontist in Dallas-Fort Worth area, then say, hey, do you guys know a great orthodontist in DFW? Whether it's Plano, Frisco, doesn't really matter to me. I'm just looking for one in DFW. Somebody on your friends list, if you have friends there, are going to know somebody, right? And so I think just asking a lot of times for those referrals helps. And then, of course, we have given kickbacks and done all kinds of things through the years.
Talk about that a little bit. I think a lot of people don't understand. We always are asking businesses to pay for leads, and we get frustrated when they're not willing to spend what we believe the lead is worth. Yet I see we're very hypocritical oftentimes in the group about how much we're willing to spend on a lead. And we almost get kind of greedy. I got a message last night from someone that they said, hey, if I run AdWords and I get leads and then I contact a business owner and send the leads to them, Am I supposed to tell them if they say, yes, I want to move forward? Am I supposed to tell them, okay, we'll wait 2 or 3 months and then the leads will start coming again? I said, no, just keep running the AdWords. He's like, well, I got to get money coming in the door. I can't work for free. And it's like, you don't understand. You just acquired a client. And based on my experience, I've had clients for 9 years at $3,000 a month. That's a small home, you know, and it's a nice home, actually. It's like
I hear it's a really nice home.
your cost to acquire the lead, right, was maybe 60 days of running AdWords with the customer's money, by the way. You're not going negative. And so talk about like kickbacks and referrals and some of the things that you've done for people that have referred you business to incentivize them to do so.
Yeah, the perfect example is I posted in JK the other day. I had one lunch meeting that I was in for a little bit over an hour that I walked away with a list of 80 referrals. Yeah, and I was like, oh my goodness, I just hit a jackpot. And the cool part about it is I told this guy, and you're exactly right about, you got to be willing to invest if you want to get, especially if you want to get good warm leads that are actually good quality leads. I'm willing to give up to the first month of SEO. So if that guy brought me a $5,000 a month account, I will give him a $5,000 check for that first month if they sign a 12-month contract. Wow. And so, yeah, and that's kind of the way we've kind of approached this is, in my world, I would rather not have to chase business. I want business chasing us. And so if I can turn everybody I know into salespeople for me, then I don't have to go mess with all that, right? And so to me, it's worth the time and energy. It's worth the money to not spend the time and energy out chasing that business. So we do something, even with our employees. If I have an employee that sends us business and we close that business, we give them that first month of SEO fee, whatever that net is, we give them that for that month. So if they bring us $1,000 a month client, then we're going to give them $1,000 that month as a bonus. So my employees love it because that's just extra money to them. We know that it's like you just said, I don't want the contract just for a year. I want the guy to be paying us $1,000 a month for the next 10 years. And so to me, it's a very small price to pay because I think, and you and I talked about this before, you've really got to look at this as a big business. You got to look at this as a business instead of looking at this as a hobby. And when you start realizing, hey, I've got to spend some money, you're going to spend money somehow, whether it's your time, your energy, whatever, whether you're doing email or AdWords or whatever it is that you're trying to acquire clients, you're going to spend some kind of energy on it. I would rather just give somebody a check knowing that we have a warm lead. I don't have to sell myself. I'm already valid. I've already got legitimacy when I walk in the door. It just makes it so much easier. And you can grow everything so much faster. I'm not going to pay them until I get paid. So I'm not having to spend any extra money necessarily. I'm just not going to have that first month of income. We're in a position we don't need that. So you can do less money than that. Give them a $250, $500 bird dog fee for a $1,000 client.
Yep.
Right. So that way you can give them that kickback. Basically what you're doing is instead of hiring a sales guy, you're paying them as a sales guy. That's all you're doing. Totally. It's just an idea, except you're getting a whole lot cheaper.
We did, if you remember, in a lot of the JK stuff, we did a video and we said, listen, hey, if you refer us a student that ends up joining JK, we're going to pay you 20% of the tuition, and 20% of a $6,000 tuition is a hefty chunk of change for referring a friend over to our program. And I can tell you, to this day, I have one guy who has sent me consistently 20 to 40 sales a month. I paid him over $350,000 last year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then there's a slew of folks like you or
right.
different folks that have done onesie twosies here or there. But when you got 2,000-3,000 clients and you just get one referral a year from each person, that's big business and that's big dollar amounts. And so it's one of those things that I think definitely doesn't get done enough. I remember a student really early on. You may remember this person. His what was his name? Zarek, I think. And Zarek Curry, he's so old. He's like the first 20 members of JK.
Oh, dude.
He's around somewhere, floating around. But he was doing, I think, AC repair. And I remember he showed me the little form he gave to business owners when he set up a deal with them. And he give them this form, and it basically would say, hey, for any new client you refer me, I'm going to take 25% off your bill. And once your bill goes to zero, so then I'll be working for free. After 4 referrals, I'm working for free.
Right.
If you continue referring, I'll give you 25% of their bill.
Right.
And so he created this referral machine, and he's like, I never had to go out and get business anymore because every business owner I wanted or I was working with, they didn't want a bill. They didn't want that monthly bill. So he said, hey, I know you don't want to pay this monthly bill. Just refer me to 3 or 4 of your friends. And he's like, it was like a machine. I had more leads than I ever knew what to do with. And I always thought that was so awesome because he saw the bigger picture of don't be so greedy. Yeah, you got the $1,000 client per month, but you know what? Lower their bill $250 if they get you a client, because now you're at $1,750, and then you do it again, you're at $2,500, and your cash flow starts to grow. So I think referrals it's such like sales or business 101, but it's also so forgotten, you know?
Yeah, we even do that with our customers. We do the same thing. If a customer brings us, if they refer somebody, we credit that money back to their bill.
That's awesome.
We've had quite a few customers that have done that they've had a free month of SEO or a free month of whatever because of that.
Absolutely. So that's referrals one. Let's go back to like another one that, you know, something that you did in the early days to kind of get the ball rolling, because I think that's a big problem too. So you got social media asking for referrals, talking about what you're doing. You got referrals for your clients and your employees and the people that you know. If you know, there's people that don't have strong social medias, there's people that don't already have clients.
Right.
So then, you know, what's something for someone that's dead in the water, they're brand new, they just got going, or they're struggling to get their first client?
Network or partner. And those are things that we teach in the boot camp too, but both of those strategies are a little bit different. So one of the things that a lot of the guys have been doing inside the boot camp is I give quite a few different organizations that aren't your normal networking opportunities, but even like chamber things like NABO, which is the National Association of Women Business Owners. That is a huge organization. Anybody that's in a bigger community is going to have one of those. And if you're a woman that's inside of JK, you should be a part of that because it'll get you around women business owners that are attorneys, doctors, lawyers, CPAs. Like those are the kinds of people. The only reason I even know about that organization is they used to give to the children's home that I ran. And so I got to know all those ladies.
What is the name of it again?
NAWBO, NAWBO. It's National Association of Women Business Owners.
Got it.
There's another organization that you'll see a lot in a lot of communities. It's called the American Federation of Advertisers. And most communities have that. It's AFA on, if you look on Facebook, usually there's a group in your local area, especially if it's a decent sized town. It's a good group to be in. What you're going to find is most of the people that are in that group are media buyers. And so most of them have no clue how to do SEO or any of that. Now you're going to have web designers in there, but they're not SEO lead gen guys, right? They're just web designers. So those kinds of places can get you in a network to where you start to grow your reach as far as your business goes, so that people know who you are, what you do, how you do it in the community, that sort of thing. And so if there's somebody that's struggling that does not have the network, does not have the social media, you need to get out from behind your computer. And I know that scares a lot of them half to death, but you need to get out from behind your computer and go talk to somebody. The SBDC, usually there's a small business development, either a board or a corporation or whatever it may be in every single city. And usually the actual training arm of that is associated with a college in your town. And so if you're around a decent sized community, the SBDC usually has everything from trainings to some of them even have programs where they can help you as a business owner getting started. But it gives you an opportunity to get around people that know all the businesses in the community, because those guys are constantly in contact with business owners in the community. And so they know all of the businesses that are coming in because they're involved with economic development boards. So the SBDC is a great place to go. Chamber, BNI groups, I know there's a lot of people having good success with those. Meetups, another great place to have success. But even partnerships, people don't look, and you and I have talked about this a lot. One of our best sources of getting leads is an IT company that we partner with. And so that IT company they are in and out of businesses every single day in our community. They know every business owner. They know all decision makers. And so if I partner with them and either give them a kickback or whatever it may be, it speeds up the process for me, because now I don't have to go in and find the decision maker. I don't have to worry about getting past the gatekeeper. This guy already knows all those people. And so it's just a come in, handshake, hey, this is what this guy does. And it makes it super simple instead of complicating things where you're having to go through a process. There's no process when the guy walks you in the door and walks you straight to the decision maker for your specific piece of the business.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So when you partner think about things like sign companies. Those guys are involved with businesses in your community. Any kind of IT professional that's going to be working on business networks, that sort of thing. Those guys inside the community, commercial real estate agents, commercial property management, even guys like commercial bankers and people like that have those types of connections. Those are guys that you have to start to get to know. Once you start to get to know them, your network grows pretty quickly. But you've got to get outside of your comfort zone and get out there to talk to people.
I think the other thing that most people are penny wise, dollar foolish when it comes to this.
Yeah.
So they'll go to, let's just say, real estate professional. And this, I'm gonna tell you, I'll circle this back to even JK first, and how there's been a lot of penny wise, dollar foolish people that have came through JK, and instead of tapping me, they tried to go around me and tried to tap my network that I've built instead of saying, hey Dan, let's collaborate on something, and
Sure.
Here, I'll give you a little sliver, or let's make this deal work so you can get behind it as well. The same thing is true with your IT guy. I guarantee you, I can't guarantee it, but I just knowing you well enough, I bet you didn't just go and say, hey, let me suck you dry of your 30 years of clients and contacts and hard work, and you know what, I'll buy you a hot dog, down to AM, PM or whatever. No, you probably gave up a good chunk of the business for every piece of business he brought in, because guess what that does? It gets him real motivated.
Yeah, it does.
Helping you. Man, we all want multiple streams of income coming in. We all want different lines coming in. And I guarantee you there's going to be some day in your business where another idea is spurred on. And you have this book of business of business owners who know you, who like you, who trust you. And maybe Joe Blow comes in and says, Corey, I got this widget that's the best widget since sliced bread for small business owners. Do you have any business owners that you know? And you're like, yes, I do. If Joe Blow says, well, hey, why don't you walk me through the door and just give me those? You're like, no, these are my people.
Right.
What's in it for me? And so this is where people get things so screwed up because they're short-sighted and they're, oh, well, if I share it, I only get 50%. But if I do it all on my own and go around them and skirt it, and this is why people that have came in JK, I've kicked out, that have went around me and tried to access my network that I've worked 3.5 years on, that I've spent millions of dollars on acquiring. And it's ridiculous. It frustrates me, but it's also a lesson to be learned from exactly what you're talking about here. When you go to that real estate guy who owns commercial real estate, guess what that guy likes or that gal likes? They like money.
That's right.
They invest in commercial real estate because they're allergic to it. They enjoy it. And I guarantee you, if you can show them another stream of income from the network that they already have, you got their ears.
That's right.
But when it's all about me, and not about them, and how you can actually bring value to their life and their money and their business, they don't want to hear you. So don't be penny wise and dollar foolish when it comes to these partnerships. Another thing while you were speaking that I just kind of jogged my memory, there's so many web designers in a town, and a lot of these web designers are very, very afraid that you're going to come take their clients, but they also don't know what you guys know how to do. And so wine and dine these people. Make these people your best friends. Overpay them, because they literally have the main vein into all these business owners from a web presence. So the business owners that hire these people for web design or whatever, they look to that web designer as their web designer, their IT person, their computer gets a virus on it. I'm telling you, that's how these business owners think of their web guy. It's everything. And be a value to them too, not just monetarily, but maybe when you get a web design client, you say, I'm going to pass on the money. I'm going to give it to Jim, the web designer that I just took out for coffee, and I sent his wife and him out for a nice dinner and a bottle of wine. Guys, I'm telling you guys, if you learn to cultivate your leads like Corey's talking about right here, you guys will have endless access to other people's networks, but don't be selfish and don't be penny wise and dollar foolish and not spend any money on these amazing entry points. You don't have to do any cold prospecting in this business. And that's why
I don't call at all anymore.
No.
I haven't called them forever.
Yeah, I know you did when you first started, probably because you just hadn't got all these different ideas into your brain. But once you saw that, getting in front of Mr. IT guy who has 10,000 clients or whatever, that might be a better way than knocking on doors and getting told to get the heck out of here, right?
Yeah, and your closing rate goes up, your cash flow goes up because all of a sudden the businesses come to you instead of you having to go chase. Your time management is better because you're not having to chase. Everything becomes easier because you're literally not having to go expend yourself to go get all those new clients.
I love it. Okay, so just a couple questions. I know we don't have you forever here, so I'm just going to bang through a couple ones that I think are good. This is more of a pitch question, but I'm just going to ask you, when prospecting, do you change your pitch depending on the niche, or do you usually use a generic approach? So when you're in front of maybe one of these referrals comes your way, or someone hits you up off of one of your Facebook posts, do you make your pitch generic, or is it specific to that business owner?
We've been in this long enough now that I can use them to get specific, but when we started, we had to do generic because we'd only worked with so many niches.
Right.
But I try to usually tell a story, and so usually I'll try to use another account that we have to tell a success story. And it doesn't really matter what it is, whether you've got a towing client or a limo guy or a tree guy, or it doesn't really matter. If you can go, hey man, this is what I've been able to do for this client. I'll give you the perfect example. Yesterday I met with one of our clients. She took me to lunch. We sat down, and she told me, hey, we're going to go to so-and-so restaurant. And I was just kind of grinning inside because she doesn't realize that we market for them. And so we went to the restaurant. We sat down in the restaurant. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know that we market for this restaurant. She goes, seriously? I said, yeah, we've been able to increase them about almost $20K a week in new business. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're getting like a 4,000% return or something on what they're spending with us right now. And it's nutso looking at it. But that's usually what I try to do is tell them, hey, here's kind of how we've had success or whatever in a particular niche. And it doesn't have to be anything major, but I usually try to tie it back to, especially if I've got the niche already, hey, we've done this with your niche or whatever. But man, when you first start, you just got to say what you got to say, and you've only got probably so many examples to be able to use. So you just use what you can use. And
I think just kind of riffing off of that thing, for the person that just gets started, they've never built a lead gen site before. Okay, first things first, you got to get your lead gen site. I see too many people going through the training, they skip that part of the training, and they go, well, I'm just going to try to get clients because I don't have time to wait. And it's like, no. You should because you need to get this thing done today, because that's going to be your first case study. And on last night's call, I spoke about, I had a lead come into my phone for my pool site, and I took the call myself, took a message as, I said, that call right there is proof that I can generate leads. So now I could hit up every pool company in the United States, pool cleaning company in every market, and use that case study as a way to at least open the door and open their eyes to, hey, if you're looking for new clients, I'm doing this here, right? I could do it through a screencast or whatever. So I think it's just important that even if you have one site up, that is used, that can be used generically when you start. But I can tell you, getting niche down and understanding their business before you walk in the door will speak volumes.
Totally agree.
And I know that there's some stuff coming down the pike. We've done, I think, over 25 different fully investigated reports on different niches. Actually, a lot of the niches that are in your boot camp that you're going to be rolling out, because I knew people would want to know more about them. So I paid someone to go out and actually do research papers, what types of businesses are there, annual revenue, all those things. Those things are nice to know when you sit in front of a business owner, because they know you're not generic. They know you're a specialist. So I'm all about being a specialist and knowing a little bit about the business and the type of business. I've actually been studying just over the last few days. I've been studying all of your guys' that are coming to the JK Vegas event. I've been studying your guys' applications into JK so I can know a little bit more about you guys when we're there. And so I think it's the same thing. It's like, do you want to put the time and effort into getting personal with someone and being specific to them, or do you want to be really broad? When you first start, you got to be a little bit broad, but you can do the research up front before you walk in those doors. I think that's way smarter to do. I think
we always do research. Yeah, and that's something that, I preach that heavy in the boot camp. We always do research up front. I want to know everything I can about that niche, that client, what they're doing, what they're not doing, what their competitors are doing. Because if I can walk in the door and know more about it than they do, that immediately puts me in the driver's seat.
Totally. Okay. How do you get past the gatekeeper for larger companies, high ticket?
Yeah, we do. Most of the bigger clients that we're going to walk into is going to be referral. I don't ever cold call. So, I don't have to mess with that stuff because we're going around the door. If it's a client or a company that I want to get into, I'll specifically ask, like, do I know anybody that knows somebody that works for, right?
Someone always, that's the thing. I think, and it's the ultimate sales machine they talk about. Chet Holmes gets in front of the college class and he's like, hey, I want the first person to get in front of an A-list celebrity, get them on the phone, gets X. And no one asked anyone, hey, do you know? Or, it's like everyone just gave up right at that point. And that's kind of like the bigger company, the whale is, So I think you're spot on. 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Just remember that. You're 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon, all right?
I don't even think we're that many anymore with social media, dude.
You're not.
You can always find somebody that knows somebody.
Absolutely. Always. Let's see here. I like to know, when hiring a sales rep, what route you take. It's not really prospecting, but I guess it's prospecting for sales reps. How do you go about that?
We actually haven't had to hire anybody. I've done all of our sales from day one. We are looking at bringing somebody in. We've done some contract work with salespeople, but that's about the bulk of what we've done. Usually it's for a flat fee up front. And so I'll pay them X amount of dollars per client that they bring in. It's usually 100% commission. And then it's kind of the same kind of thing as the referral stuff. I'll give you X amount of dollars of the first month, that kind of thing. I don't give any recurring revenue after that. We learned that the hard way. We did that for when we first started. We did that for a while, killed my cash flow. Yeah. And so we just don't do that anymore. We are looking at hiring a sales guy, and the guy that we're looking at hiring is not a normal sales guy. He actually works in an industry right now to where he has to sell business owners directly. So he already has like hundreds of names of business owners that he already knows that he's already sold. And so, which is just ridiculous, right? So the way we would go about doing that, and he and I have already met and chatted, I want to know that he can do what we do and sell what we do, which he should be able to. So we're doing a referral basis initially just to see if he can do it. And then once we bring him on as an employee, we'll pay him a smaller salary plus a really generous commission, because I want him to be crazy motivated to go out there, right? So generous commission. Of course, we pay health insurance. We got all that mess now. We got a full agency.
Sure.
It's not right. So
yeah. So one thing I was going to say, you actually nailed it. But just as asking for referrals and tapping into the web designer or the IT company's book of business, there's sales reps that have left other companies that have a
book of business
Rolodex. In fact, this is exactly how I built my first company. I found this guy. I was walking into one of my clients. He was in there. I recognized him because I'd seen him in other places. I kind of knew him because where I was at wasn't that big. And he sold this map. It was just this old school map that they'd give it out at all the different travel places in the town when new visitors would come, and it'd show all the different places to eat. And it's a tough sell, right? It's like $500 to get on this little map. And he had 50 businesses on there, the exact types of businesses that I wanted to be in front of, that I didn't have the relationships or the ability to get in front of those business owners. So I recruited him away from his business. I paid him better. I gave him a big salary because I knew he could do it. I saw the map. His sales were right there for me.
Right.
And that guy literally allowed me to step back from being the sales guy of my business and start operating, putting bigger ideas into place. And he would go out motivated as heck because I paid him really well. And he literally built me my first 7-figure business by lieu of getting the clients for me. He's getting me clients, getting paid better than he's ever get paid. And that's how I did it. So never forget that when you're hiring a sales rep, in effect, can be one of your best prospecting mechanisms.
That's right.
And for people, listen, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, well, but Dan, I'm broke. I don't have any money to hire a sales rep. Okay, guys, you're in business now. It's time to start solving problems. If you're broke, you can't hire a sales rep. And go get your first client, get your first $1,000 a month coming in. I know you want that $1,000 a month because you're in the broke mentality. Take that first $1,000 a month that your first client's paying you. Okay, offer that $1,000 a month to the guy, the map guy, or the salesman that just got laid off that's looking for a job that has 50 contacts to the exact types of clients. And I promise you, that person, their sole job every day is to wake up and go to work for you. And the $1,000 isn't a ton, but it's what you have right now. And if you got $2,000, pay $2,000. Watch them closely. Okay, be willing to pay them a referral fee and what have you. But remember, that could be one of your best prospecting mechanisms. I know for me, in my business, my first business, that was one of the best things I ever did. Was I was able to step back and tap into this guy's entire book of business, and he just walked us through the front door of everything we needed to go to. So that's
everything up.
I think it's a great actual question. Now thinking of it a little bit more from a prospecting standpoint.
Yeah.
In front of people. In fact, if you think about it, I know you got to go soon. If you think about it, Kirby Vacuums, it's their entire model.
That is their model. It's exactly their model.
I'll call you all, and then they say, go pitch grandma, uncle, aunt, sister, brother for the first week. Get your pitch down. What do? They get 200 kids in the room. You go pitch all your family. One person, grandma's buying for sure.
That's right.
She's not going to buy from grandson or little granddaughter.
That's
so there's
right.
200 people making one sale. There's 200 Kirby vacuum sales in 1 week. And then a lot of people go, I don't want to do this crap. I don't want to knock door to door. So, 195 of them quit and 5 are left, and then they move to the next town. So that's their entire model. Okay. Corey, anything else? I know you got to get rolling. Anything else from a prospecting standpoint, that just any words of advice or any sort of thing? I think we've given some incredible nuggets of knowledge. Anything else you can think of?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing, I think today, one of the guys wrote in the boot camp, he's been going through our 30-day challenge, and he had wrote in the boot camp, hey, I just got to say this. I had been doing the challenge, hadn't had the results that I wanted. I keep telling everybody, as they start the challenge, everybody's network's going to be different. People do not listen. Make sure you're being consistent and persistent, and turn up the volume if you need to. And he did. And he kept going and kept being persistent, kept being persistent, kept being persistent. He had a few leads here and there. In the last like week, he's had 9 leads, all from referrals, all from the challenge, because he was persistent and didn't quit.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the thing that I see most with, and you've seen this. I mean, we and I talked about this. Most JKers are going to quit before they get to success. And so they're gonna talk themselves out of it, or they're gonna say, I don't know what to do, or they're gonna come up with whatever excuse, and they're gonna walk away before they get to success. And I think that's what's cool is if you'll find something that you know works, don't go chase something new or different. Do something that Dan's recommended. Do something that somebody in the group that's having success has recommended, and go out and do it, the Eugene strategy or whatever it may be, and put some time and energy into it and be persistent with it. And believe that it's going to work, because it's already worked for Dan. It's already worked for other people.
Right.
That's the problem. I think they give up. They don't stay persistent. And then what you see happen is it starts stacking. And you've seen this. I've seen it in my business. You've got 1 or 2 leads come in, all of a sudden 3 or 4 more, and before long it starts stacking to the point where there are times when I've had literally 25 or 30 leads that I'm working at once, all because it's stacked up so big. I'm going to close something out of that.
100%.
No matter what, right? And so out of that 80 leads the other day, I started pounding through them. I'm going to be persistent with that guy to make sure he's following up so that I can close some of those leads, all because I've stuck with it for 3 years now. And the first 6-8 months weren't easy, and you and I talked about it. I mean, it wasn't easy. We made some money, but it wasn't easy, especially those weeks where you don't feel like you got anything to work, any new leads, whatever, but you've got to be persistent. You cannot just come in one day and do nothing and do nothing the next day and then do maybe a screencast the next day or something. You've got to be persistent and be consistent and just pound it until you get to that point where it starts to stack.
Yeah, we'll kind of end with this, and then I want to talk real quickly on your boot camp. But there was a gal that just posted. I literally answered it at 6:30 this morning. She posted it in the group, and it was like, how fast can I do this, because it's taking me so long. And this is someone that over the last 2 years I've watched her start, quit, start again, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And I said, you know what? It has nothing to do with how fast you can get something done or how long is the magic. She's looking for a magic bullet.
Right.
What tool is going to make me go quicker? And I said, I want you to think of a professional athlete. Okay. There's not a professional athlete on planet Earth that said, I want to be a pro golfer and I'm going to go golf for a week and then I'm going to quit because you know what? This golf game, man, I'm not that good. This is hard. And then they're like 3 months later, they're going to start again. That person's never going pro in anything in life. And the fact of the matter is, you get paid professional money. You get paid like a professional athlete. I get paid like a professional athlete. Others that we're going to interview get paid like professional athletes. Why are they getting paid like professional athletes? Because they put in the practice, they put in the work, they put in the consistency. They didn't start and stop and get distracted every time they turned around. So the thing is, from we're talking prospecting right now, but business in general, consistency is the name of the game. I'd rather have someone that's consistent and shows up every day that has very little talent than someone that's incredibly talented that starts and stops every 10 seconds. So let's end with this, man. Your boot camp. Talk to us a little bit about it. I'm going to put a link under this video. I know this is all about prospecting, but I know your boot camp is like JKers that have literally, been in for a while. They kind of get the goods, and then now they want to kind of ascend and kind of to the next kick in the butt. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing most is it's people that have come in. Maybe they've been in JK. Some of the people have been in JK for a year and a half, 2 years even, and they've struggled to figure out the agency piece. They understand the concept. They've got some sites up maybe. They even might have a client or 2 or 5 or 10 even that they've had over time that some of them have dropped or whatever it may be. And some of them are doing maybe $1,000 a month. Some of them came to boot camp doing zip. And so I think what I'm seeing with the boot camp is it literally gives you, and the thing that we keep hearing back is it gives you step by step through the 30-day challenge. Here's what you need to do every day. You don't have to think about it. And so when you get in and you get into the challenge, it literally walks you through every day and says, this is what you need to do today. So I don't have to think, you don't have to think. Everybody just kind of does what they need to do. And then that by executing, now they're executing every day, something every day, and they're not dropping the ball. And that persistence and that consistency over time is what's creating. Like we've already got a guy that should hit 20K this month. He started at 45 days ago. He started at $5,000. He said this month he probably will hit 20K. And so we've got others that have hit close to 10, 12 in just that short amount of time. And it's not because of anything magic, like you said, but they're putting in the time, they're putting in the energy. So I teach everything from how to build the agency, what the agency should look like. I give actual files, documents out of our agency. I give quote forms. I basically fast forward everything for you so that you can literally just start to prospect in the strategies that we use. so that you can start to get business today. And so when people get in, the people that got in, they hit it hard, they hit it fast, they went into the 30-day challenge. Those are the people that I'm already seeing that are already at success. They've already got clients. They've already made money. And for the investment that we're asking, some of these people have made 1,000%, ROI in 30 days on their money with just getting one client. And so I think that's the thing that's kind of crazy is by teaching those pieces of the agency and then teaching some little strategies that we use in our agency to either get clients or rank sites or things that are new. Like I saw last week, some things that are changed about the GMB that I haven't seen anywhere yet. That the only reason I saw it's because I was looking at it that day and I taught on it that Wednesday night. And so every week we do a webinar call on Wednesday nights or Wednesday afternoons. And so all of those pieces of that puzzle should help somebody go from having a small agency, a small business, maybe it's a one-man show at that point or one-woman show at that point, to creating, if they want an agency, that's what I'm teaching them how to do. Here's how to put those pieces in place. Here's how to hire employees. Here's where you can go get VAs. We're even talking about, you and I have chatted about this. We're even opening up strategies. We may even have some other means of getting prospects or getting leads that are going to be put into it. And I'm working on it now. It's not done yet. I'm hoping to have it done soon. We'll have an actually 90-day follow-up after that 30-day challenge that will walk you through day to day so you're not having to think so much and worry about, am I doing the right thing? Am I spending my time wisely? It'll actually tell you, here's what you need to do today. Here's where you need to go today. Here's who you need to talk to today. And that way you're not having to overthink it. You can just act and react to what's going on and make sure that you're getting new clients in there.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I love about the boot camp that you put together is the daily email, almost like, here's what you need to do today.
Yeah.
I know I've been an entrepreneur long enough now that I can wake up, I woke up 6:30. I knew exactly what I needed to do today.
Yeah.
One of the things I had to do. But not everyone is at that place in their business. I know you weren't when you first started either. So having those kind of like daily tasks of like, I got to check this up the list is huge. And then I think the other thing that you didn't mention that is really big in the boot camp is all case studies, man. These case studies are live clients that Corey has landed. Don't mess with them, okay? But the bottom line is he's walking you through different niches, different industries that you guys could take the roadmap that he's given you and say, I'm going to go out and prospect an orthodontist today, and I'm just going to follow the linking strategy Corey used. I'm going to follow the design he used. I'm going to follow the content strategy he used, the prospecting he used, yada, yada, yada. These things are all done for you. You get to look at what he's already done and copy it.
I released the orthodontist this last week into the group.
Yep.
And the next day, one of the people reached out and said, I can't believe the company that you told us did all these sites was the company that my orthodontist that my daughter's using. That's who does that. How can I approach them? And we went through that whole process in that case study. So she's already hitting an orthodontist a day after I released the case study.
Yeah, perfect.
Because she knows now this is all of the facts. This is how you need to rank them. This is how it'll help. Blah, 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 blah. Here's some strategies to use. It gives you the roadmap. So you can literally go. So we've done chiropractors, orthodontists. Before long, we'll be releasing home remodelers, which has been a huge niche for me. Contractors. We've got some other weird niches in there. We're going to talk about banks before long because banks is an untapped niche.
Yeah, Amy Ball does a lot with banks.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in that. And so there's different kinds of niches like that that are just kind of oddball that we're going to kind of chat about. And again, you're going to see everything. I show everything from the keywords to the backlinks. I don't hide anything. I hope nobody jacks up our clients.
They won't. They won't.
Yeah, I'm trusting that everybody is going to be good. But basically, I show everything. And that way, the boot campers can literally walk out the door and know exactly what they need to say when they walk in the door.
Perfect. So there'll be a link underneath this video. The boot camp's it kind of opens at specific times, basically. And so there'll be a waiting list link. We've changed up the waiting list. We're changing up the waiting list because what was happening was people get on the waiting list and then come open time, and then they wouldn't respond. And so if you want to be on the waiting list, you actually going to have to put down a deposit on that waiting list. It's going to be a small deposit just to show that you're serious so that when go time comes, we're not chasing you around, trying to find you or what have you. That way you can get started with Corey and get moved into the boot camp, and he doesn't have to, try to call you, private message you, and email you to get rolling and get you your password. So that will be right underneath this. You can go over there and get on that waiting list. Tons of great stuff in that boot camp. I've heard nothing but good things. So, Corey, thanks for spending the morning with us. I know we're over our time when you had to be somewhere. Sorry about that. And I will see you in a few days in Vegas.
Sounds good, man. We'll see you then.
All right, bye.